This clip was posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Scream Aim and Fire. When you're home alone and you start catching things moving out of the corner of your eye, you may begin to wonder whether you're really alone after all. Scream explains that, days before, she had noticed a bell hanging from the ceiling move slightly, but there was no breeze, and nothing else hanging in the room was moving. Thereafter, when she was home alone, she started to hear things, like people pacing the hallways. She turned on her camera after hearing something fall in the home, as she was determined to go and investigate. The Redditor notes that later, after rewatching the video, a couple orbs flew by. Even scarier, she writes, "I think I saw my mother-in-law's doll move too." Watch the video closely, and you'll see exactly what she's talking about. As she walks into her mother-in-law's room, the doll sitting on a chair against the back wall does appear to move its head ever so slightly. While the orbs captured throughout the video could very well be dust, it's hard to explain the doll's inexplicable movement. Does the Redditor have a Chucky situation on her hands? If so, she'd better flee before the gloves come off. Why do some people gotta do such creepy stuff? TikToker Unpopular Notes captured this creep creeping outside someone's house. In 2018, this woman kept hearing strange sounds outside of her bedroom window. It had been going on for 3 weeks, so naturally, she set up a security camera. This is what she found. She captured the stalker peering into her bedroom window. When he spotted the security camera, he quickly left but returned to take it. It's unclear if this guy was ever captured, but I think I'd be installing another camera, or 6. This unlucky fellow must have the strictest parents ever, because he's mowing his lawn in some pretty severe weather. A storm is rolling into St. Louis, Missouri, and things are about to get bad for him quickly.
Ellie, stay back. Man!
His neighbor tells him to get inside, but he refuses. Apparently, he either doesn't know or doesn't care that pushing a big piece of metal under a bunch of trees is a recipe to attract lightning.
Hey, get inside!
Even after almost getting stuck, the defiant neighbor continues to mow his yard as the weather gets worse. That's when the person recording decides they are standing outside too and takes their own advice. This neighbor may have beaten out the elements this time, but I don't know how many storms they can weather before they learn their lesson the hard way. Definitely don't do what they do unless you want to wind up struck by lightning. Ryan Keelan and his friend Nick are checking out the Boca Raton Cemetery in search of 2 ghosts. One is named Mary, and the other is only known as the Screaming Man. These 2 spirits are supposed to reside in the far western part of the graveyard, where terrifying shrieks can sometimes be heard according to local reports. Ryan and his friend hope to spend a full night in the cemetery. They get to the western part around sundown and start to experience signs of the paranormal almost instantly.
This light's flickering. Look, see? No.
Soon it becomes apparent that the lights are clearly turning off in front of them wherever they go, one light at a time.
Oh, I wish.
They are sure that Mary is trying to lead them somewhere, so they reluctantly follow, using the lights as their guide. The lights continue to go out one by one until they stop at a place where they can feel her presence. Look at this part and let me know if you can see the dark silhouette of Mary's ghost on the wall. A short while later, they both see something off camera and bolt. I think there's a good chance that their terror is real because, as you can see here, Nick is so scared that he doesn't even notice his phone fall out of his pocket. Ryan returns later with a second friend, Jesse, and they find themselves once again getting led by the lights.
See, this is the light that was flickering last time. Yep, there it is again. Oh boy.
This time, Ryan decides that this is too unnerving and opts not to follow. Who knows? Mary and the screaming man could have been waiting for them right around the corner. You head outside for a nice peaceful evening stroll when you encounter this, posted to TikTok by Daniela Duque. The uploader says in the clip, "Something happened that changed my life, check." The clip shows at least a dozen people all dressed in white, wandering down the empty street carrying torches. It's not clear what's going on here. Many in the comments are saying this looks like the set from a movie. Others suggest the horror film Midsommar. While some think this group is cult-like, perhaps performing a ritual. Still others consider this is more likely the Purge. Are you ready for it? I'm not. On occasion, images caught on a baby monitor can give you pause. Other times, they're downright paralyzing. Published to TikTok by Martin, the TikToker thinks this is a monster. A baby is turning restlessly in his crib. You can see a dark form at the head of the crib, but it's not yet clear if it's just an innocuous shadow cast by something in the room. But as the baby turns onto his stomach, two glowing eyes blink open and thin, smoky fingers reach into the crib from the side. Is this a spirit, an alien, a monster, a human intruder? Whatever it is, get that baby out of there and fast. If you're going caving, do it at the right time of day. Posted to TikTok by Andrew Smith. This caver found out the hard way that underwater caves have a high tide. As the cave fills with water around him, he has nowhere to go. The water comes rushing at the staircase as the cave continues to fill dramatically. We can assume these cavers made it out alive enough to post this video, but most in the comments say they're goners just watching this. I seriously hope everyone was alright.
Apparently caught an apparition going to the neighbor's house, going left to right by the trash cans, and in the middle of the driveway, this figure or apparition.
A ghost sighting caught on a home security camera as a small neighborhood in Paragould, Arkansas, worried something paranormal is on their block.
There it is. Walking, no legs, and she disappears.
The mysterious figure never returns after its disappearing act. It's not a neighbor, they say, because the neighbors were on vacation. They've never caught any other weird things on camera since, and other than that one night, the home security system seems to work fine. I guess there is a chance that this could be a technical malfunction, but to them it's a scary ghost video that's actually real. Having seen all of the evidence yourself, tell me if this video is paranormal. I think it could be a glitch, but I don't have the technical know-how to properly back up that explanation. Ever caught something in a video that freaks you out beyond measure? Joey Shade did in 2018. Shade writes, I put my phone down on record to see what had been taking things out of my garage. I noticed a second video I did not record that showed something move the phone closer to the door, but saw what looks like a hand of some sort. Shade begs viewers to tell him what this freaky fingered creature is. It's hard to tell, but whatever that thing is, I think it's time to move. Whatever the case may be, that hand certainly looks menacing to say the least. What you are witnessing is rare underwater footage of a ningen, a gigantic sea creature apparently first spotted by Pacific fishermen sometime in the 90s. The name literally means human, and that's because they tend to have a round head along with 4 limbs and a skinny torso. The creature is about the size of a submarine, but looks rubbery and boneless. It appears to be mostly carried by ocean currents and has a limited control over its directional course. Since ningen sightings are so new, not much is known about these creatures aside from it having a preference for Arctic waters and a nocturnal sleep schedule. There's rumors about various government officials suppressing information from the public, so there's no telling what new ningen footage will leak in upcoming years. It really makes you wonder what other humanoid monsters are possibly being hidden from the world's eye. Have you ever gone on a real-life witch hunt? Way of Vlogs has, and he published his scary encounter in June of 2016 writing, finally found where the witch has been living. The YouTuber must have posted other videos of the witch prior to searching for her abode. In this footage, he claims that these stick crosses that he's come across in the woods indicate where the witch he encountered is living. He says there's logs in this wooded area and ceremonial things, although none of that is shown. Then he points out the strangest thing, a teepee made of sticks. As he's filming the teepee, something sets him on edge. He pans around and off to the left stands a woman with jet black hair dressed in white. She's unmoving, but her presence there is unnerving enough to make the YouTuber hightail it out of there. What would you do if you came across this lady in the forest at night? Two fishermen cast their reels into the Gulf of Mexico without a care in the world. 20 minutes later, they only have one care in the world: getting out alive. The pair finds themselves caught in the middle of a giant storm system gathering overhead. Going backwards means traveling in the same direction as the storm, so the only thing left to do is charge deeper into the storm and hope to come out the other side in one piece. The storm hasn't even begun yet, and you can see the waves are almost coming into the boat already. They need to hurry if they ever want to see dry land again. The storm gets worse and worse until they can barely tell the sky apart from the sea. Everything is just a big swirling mass of gray with absolutely no visibility, except for the occasional crack of lightning to illuminate their path for a few precious seconds at a time. If things get any worse, their tiny boat will surely capsize under the crushing waves. Finally, after an hour of riding, they emerge from the traveling storm and return to blue skies. You can tell that they are truly safe because they can stand fully upright again. Mysterious lights keep showing up outside this man's residence in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Eduardo Ferreira captured the intriguing recurring lights of potential unidentified flying objects, which he published in both August and November of 2021. The August footage shows a bright white light drifting in the night sky. A close-up shows that it appears to be multicolored and twinkling. The light then flies quickly across the skies, vibrant against the dark clouds above. It drifts overhead until the view is blocked by an adjacent building. The second video, filmed in November, shows a series of bright blue twinkling lights, the same size as the first. They float in front of another adjacent building, just drifting there, but not moving in any pattern or course, as the previous light did. So after seeing both clips, what do you think? To what do these lights belong? Is there a logical explanation? Or are these lights cause for extraterrestrial concern, given the fact that Edward has caught it twice on camera already? I doubt it will be the last time he sees this. Captured at nearly 2 a.m., this security footage left behind a phantom trace, published by Highlight Seed in March of 2022. The mysterious video shows a couple of figures crossing along the dirt road outside of a compound. The first figure is solid. You can tell it's a human person making their way in the night. The second figure, however, although this one too is carrying a flashlight, the figure never appears solid in form, and halfway down the path, he seems to evaporate upward into the air. Both he and his flashlight beam disappear. Does the contrast between the two figures prove that one is not what it seems, or are our eyes deceiving us? A chef and his apprentice rummage around the kitchen to do some last-minute prep work before opening. One of them undoes the plastic ties from all of the bread and then takes a few steps away. Moments later, he looks over only to see a single remaining piece of bread raise itself in the air and land in the corner with a smack. He tries to explain what happened to a co-worker as he examines the bread for anything wrong, finding nothing. I was waiting for it to jump back out after he throws it away, but I guess it's done moving for now. Everybody probably thought he was going crazy, and maybe he did too, until they checked out this haunting video for themselves and posted it online. Would you have the courage to enter a home in which a horrific event took place? That's how the police described this poor lady's passing, published in January of 2022. The Ouija brothers head inside one of England's most haunted abandoned homes, in which a woman is said to have had her life taken using a device to speak with the spirit. The guys ask what her name is. Her answer gives me chills.
Could you tell us your name?
Blood.
Blood.
Blood then. Bit of a funny name, isn't it?
Remember, I like that lady.
Yes, Blood.
Then, as a cameraman is backing out of a room, they capture a strange hissing noise.
I ain't going in there, man, because they'll make me ill for days.
Later, they're in another room when out the door, they see a light, it starts getting brighter, and then they hear something clatter.
Look, mate. Can you see it getting brighter?
It is. Hold on. Okay, mate, hold on.
Is this the ghost of the woman whose life was taken in this home? Or, as Sue suggests in the comments, did the events of this poor lady's life imprint on the house? How would you spend 30 minutes alone in an abandoned cartel hotel? This video, posted by Southern Afterlife Paranormal TV in January of 2020, puts truth or dare to the test. When Josh and Todd take a half hour to themselves in the abandoned hotel at 3 a.m., the Alone Challenge saw the two partners split up in the highly graffitied abandoned hotel, terrifying themselves with unsettling noises and even more unsettling feelings. At 2 minutes 13 seconds, a viewer points out that it appears someone is standing in the doorway at the end of the hall. When Josh flashes his light, at around 3 minutes 48 seconds, a scary sound is heard, almost like a cabinet being shut.
I don't know what that was.
At around 5 minutes 40 seconds, Josh finds an upside down cross that's wet. He believes from the cold and dampness of the hotel. At around 14 minutes, he believes he smells fresh paint. Maybe some invisible graffiti artist is there to touch up their artwork. Most in the comments agree this place has an awful and uber creepy atmosphere. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, live people could be lurking around any corner. Don't know if I'd want to run into either in this nightmare hotel. Horrifying surveillance camera footage shows someone getting chased by a much bigger, much scarier person who slings them over their shoulder and drops them into a getaway vehicle. Police are calling this a suspicious incident because it looks more like it could be their last moments on Earth. They are in total fear for their life, so I don't think this is a family dispute. It's something way scarier than that. Tim Morozov, or Tim Frost in English, is a Russian YouTuber who goes into places that spirits want him to stay out of. This time he has his eyes on an entire village that's been evacuated due to the presence of something mysterious, something neither you nor I can see. He picks the creepiest, most haunted looking cabin of them all, and unlike most ghost hunters, sets up high quality lighting to catch every last detail. It isn't long before Tim Frost thinks he sees a mist floating before his very eyes, but to be honest, I don't see anything.
What?
That mirror, on the other hand, is hard to miss. Tim takes it off the wall and is busy inspecting it with what sounds like beads falling off a necklace hit the floor from behind. If this is fake, then someone must have climbed the cabin and poured something onto the roof to create this sound, but that still doesn't explain what happens next. A ghost brushes by and hits the microphone of his camera at 12 minutes and 3 seconds. The mic moves by itself and everything, or maybe Tim's just slightly shaking it to create the illusion of movement. Then his light short circuits, unless, that is, he hits the strobe effect and then turns it off himself. Tim Frost knows that he has to explore the entire cabin, and that includes the basement. He takes the freaky mirror down there with him and starts snapping pictures with an old Polaroid camera for evidence. That's when a brick falls near him. There's a good chance he placed it there himself because this ledge is an odd place for a brick to just so happen to be perched upon. But right as I say, I notice an orb fly over the brick right as it falls. So now I'm back to thinking it could be real and paranormal. Tim Frost unfortunately gets chased out by locals before he can gather much more evidence. He returns on a different day and selects another cabin. This one happens to still have power, which is odd, but I guess the electrical company could have made a mistake and not switched it off yet. Anyway, at 3 minutes and 45 seconds, he records a strange flickering white light against the wall. It stays with him for more than a minute, but then, at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, it goes away, almost like it goes into the next room, and then this happens.
Блин, что-то голова раскалывается, на самом деле. На спичку вроде все в порядке.
Suddenly, the lights go out and Tim finds himself alone in the dark, or so he thinks.
Как упали тарелки.
He uses an EMF meter to track something moving around with him, and when he hones in on its exact position, his lights start messing up. Also, an eerie mist is visible around his flashlight, but maybe it's dust. He follows the EMF meter up to an attic. His flashlight is flickering badly now, even though it was a solid beam only minutes before. What he hears next is not fake in my opinion. Too light to be a person, and yet all too near. In fact, it sounded like it was this door. But when he looks inside for himself, nothing is there. And get this, the flashlight of his camera is not the last of his lighting problems that night. When he set up his professional studio lights that he's never had a problem with before, they can't seem to stay on either. I would say that this was from faulty wiring with the cabin, but I think this light is running on its own battery and isn't plugged in at all. There are mysterious happenings that can be explained, and others to which there is no answer. Guess which one this mystery is. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by EBB Puzzleheaded, and originally published to YouTube by Daniel Robb. In May of 2020, these screams in the Texan night sky are sure to set your hair on end. In the clip, the uploader explains that there's a sound in the distance, screaming that seems to be coming from the sky, and you can regularly hear the eerie screech off and on for nearly 8 minutes.
What is that bizarre sound?
The uploader Daniel Robb says this happened between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. and that it sounded like a banshee, followed by several voices whooping. He says the sound filled the entire night sky. Others in the comments agree that it's demonic or banshee-esque, citing the end of times. Redditor I Have No Purpose in Life notes that the screams occur alongside the lightning strikes and wonders if they might be interconnected. I guess we may never know the actual answer. Fishing is supposed to be a relaxing pastime. Kick back with your pole and a cold one, and you're set for a pleasant afternoon spent out on the water. But this video, posted on Reddit by Caesar4321, reveals that fishing can sometimes take an unexpected turn. The clip shows a lucky fisherman reeling in his prize catch, a nice little fish which he pulls out onto the banks of the pond in order to remove it from the line. But as he steps closer to his catch, something pops up out of nowhere. Bet you didn't see that coming. Redditor iMoosker commented, "They are fishing in literal croc swamps, like they aren't asking for chomps." Asking for it or not, alligator incidents are on the rise in Florida. Moral of the story? Don't disturb those muddy waters, or your bones may be snapped in half by some seriously powerful jaws. This reportedly leaked video appears to be taken in a desert somewhere on the outskirts of civilization. Two scientists in full biohazard gear examine a colossal footprint. that's been left behind by what appears to be some type of giant creature. I think this video is likely not real because there appears to only be one footprint and no others nearby. If there was a series of footprints stretching beyond the horizon, I would be more inclined to believe it's real. Otherwise, they could have easily dug a hole in the shape of a monstrous footprint. A YouTube channel called Raw Fishing sees something scary looking lurking in the grass nearby. Take a look at it and tell me if you would have the courage to charge at it and turn it over like he does. The creature is called an isopod, and its biggest defense is its hard shell. The legs and mouth look scary, but actually can't do anything to people, at least not directly. Taking it to a public restaurant, on the other hand, probably wasn't such a good idea. It's pretty funny and all, but I wouldn't want to eat anything after touching what essentially just came from a drainage pipe full of bacteria. I really hope the servers wipe down the high chair and table afterwards too. Speaking of which, at 10 minutes and 27 seconds, this fry makes possible contact with the creature's face, which she then dips and brings to her mouth. Is there any way to get a parasite from doing this? It's probably not likely, but I wouldn't want to take the chance. Are there ghosts all around us? That's what Tesla's tracker technology has me thinking. Posted to TikTok by Piero1519. This Tesla owner entered a cemetery where his vehicle's technology detected life or non-life nearby. A figure can be seen appearing digitally on the car's screen, clearly ahead into the far right of the car.
And look at this. And nobody's there. The cemetery. Wow. Wow.
So it shows it like a
Flashing his camera to the location indicated, Piero shows that there's no one there at all. All that's there are a couple of gravestones and an otherwise empty graveyard. Some in the comments are saying that the Tesla assumes the tombstone is a person, since it doesn't have a tombstone detection feature. But wouldn't the Tesla then detect people in anything human shaped that its technology hasn't been taught to identify? That would just be weird. TikToker Namaste says, ghost detection is an added feature of Tesla, but Leah Jordan takes a turn writing, it's all fun and games till it gets in the car with you. Let's hope that ghostly terror remained in its eternal bed. A husband and wife are sitting in the living room when one of them notices that the cat toy is moving all by itself. When it happens a second time a short while later, they rush to get the phone and start recording what could be an animal spirit in action.
Oh my goodness.
I spent a long time looking up remote-controlled cat toys, and none of them looked anything like this one. This toy is obviously small and soft, while remote-controlled pet toys are much larger, and are also made of plastic to protect the receiver. Considering the married couple claims to have had a cat pass away years ago, I have little doubt that it's now returning to its favorite toy and to its favorite owners. A paranormal investigation channel called Ghosts of Britain think they've met their match while exploring one of the scariest haunted places in their corner of the world. An abandoned house with an unsettling atmosphere and more creepy things in it than you can imagine. On the table, they find creepy pictures left behind by someone young. A family must have lived here. The drawing and the lone meat hook in the corner do not pair well. Somehow I doubt that it was used to hang plants. They lay down a motion detector next to a toy for whoever made the picture to play with.
We want to try and make sense out of this place. We want to know about its history.
It isn't long before someone takes them up on their creepy invitation, and that's when things get really scary even for a team of ghost hunters.
Brianna.
Bear's just gone. Did you see that? The bear was just pushed over. The bear was just pushed over.
Away, but I heard it.
Do you know what? People are going to scream fake at this, you know?
They think no one will believe this ghost video is real, but I think it's possible. Their equipment reads out the word Brianna, and then the toy falls over like a paranormal entity trying to pick it up. If it was on a string, then the object should have fallen towards them, but it doesn't. It falls the opposite way. Perhaps the ghost of someone small is still trapped in this abandoned house, or at least that's what the evidence would suggest. A paranormal channel called Gene Ghost Bangladesh goes exploring one of the most haunted abandoned places in his country, an old house in the woods where scary things happen to anyone who dares enter. Scary things like disembodied voices speaking from within. And strange noises coming from where no one is standing. And living vines move across walls. Watch this part and tell me if you think he was passing out from fear or a spiritual encounter. He recovers and they think they see a shadow figure looking around the corner. In front of the house is an all-seeing eye next to a doorway that spontaneously ignites in flames. Across from the flaming archway is this hand-painted altar with 5 candles on each side of a star, and outside could be the red handprint of a recent sacrifice. The drawing of an evil-looking goat-headed creature on 2 legs gives me a sinking feeling, and I really don't like how a large white orb floats into it at 33 minutes and 20 seconds. The flames burn taller when they see this figure on the wall, as if the 2 events are somehow connected. They return to the altar and find creepy dolls have been pierced with steel wire through the head, and that's when... There's a scream and the creepy dolls begin moving on their own while everyone is standing out of the room. They don't zoom in all the way, so maybe it's on a string, or at least I hope so, because if not, then that is some really scary stuff. When unexplained shadows fall, your only recourse is to search for an answer. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Sammy Sam 1870 writes, "It was 2:06 a.m. and there was no one walking around, nor were there any cars in sight when this mysterious shadow strolled across my security camera. The following day, I tried to figure out where it could have came from, but found no explanation. The security camera footage shows a black shadow cast upon the ground, moving across the screen. As the Redditor explained, nothing visible in the area is casting the shadow. So do we have a shadow figure on our hands, or is this just a bug caught at a weird angle?" Pakistani ghost hunter Woa Kaya Hoga bravely goes exploring a jinn's den to confront a paranormal presence that's been haunting his town for too long.
दरवाजा खटका अंदर से किधर वो क्या
They can't get in this way, but there is another entrance heavily guarded by this nefarious jinn.
अंदर आए ना जरा देखें हसन भाई इधर कैमरे की लाइट लाएं वो देख
ओए इसको क्या हुआ है
ओए
It could be a real encounter, or they could be throwing rocks. The explorers investigate a different part of the wall where someone, maybe them, threw an object hard enough to take a piece out, and that's when... Noises surround them, and this door is moving on its own out of their reach. Something is next to them.
यार
मेन गेट से आवाज आई मुझे आ गया
One of them grabs their leg while white eyes watch from the windows, and when it comes to abandoned haunted houses where there are glowing eyes, there's almost always a ghost.
रहा है? ओए अल्लाह अकबर, ओए वो देखो कोई चीज गई, वो देखो फिर गई.
A mysterious figure flutters past the window, and in its place is only a single glowing eye, the eye of a djinn. This bizarre home CCTV video reveals a scary moment when a mysterious shadow figure creeps across someone's front yard, moving down into the right and running along the length of their fence. I guess it could be a bug flying by, but the way it comes from around the house and continues through the yard is the same path a person would take on foot. The person who took this video thinks it's probably a shadow figure, and after reviewing the paranormal evidence, I believe him. These tourists left with a souvenir they didn't want. Published by Mystic House / Horror Stories, this scary video was reportedly captured at a popular tourist attraction in Indonesia. Amongst the brambles on a jungle path, a creepy creature is spotted peering out from behind a stone. The humanoid-looking creature's head is adorned with strange ram-like horns. Its skin is a dull gray, its eyes heavily shadowed. Is this just a local having fun with the tourists? Or is this evidence of an unknown species lurking in the wilderness? Two things that you should never mess with: a Ouija board and the spirit world. Posted by Big Rig Jiggin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Big Rig claims that when he leaves this Ouija board out on the table, something strange happens. According to Big Rig, this video has been time edited due to it taking over 70 hours to get this footage. I tried to sit and watch for the movements so I could record. The only times it was happening is when I left the room and came back hours later. Big Rig leaves a Ouija board on the table with the planchette sitting at the top pointing downward. He passes his hand over the table and around the planchette, assumedly to show there are no strings attached. Then he leaves the room. The planchette sits still for a long while, but after a time, it starts moving around the board. It appears to slide all across the board, moving around of its own accord. The movement is also shown at a different angle. As you can see, the desk is thick, so magnets are likely at play here. Nitro Fox Zero states in the comments that leaving the planchette on the board is a big no-no, and the fact that it's trying to leave the board means the spirit is trying to escape. Never really thought of that. Now this unexplainable Ouija board activity seems even creepier. A mysterious creature sighting was caught on camera at the edge of the woods in Forest Lake, Minnesota by a woman named Stephanie Gibbons. Based on her description of it, this thing, which she says was a creature known only as the Dog Man, is undoubtedly one of the scariest things in the woods she's ever encountered before. Stephanie says the Dog Man sighting occurred around 7:30 p.m. She describes the Dogman creature as having long arms and a scruffy mane. It's too small to be a bear, and Stephanie says cougars don't live back here, so it's not that. According to her, the demon creature hardly notices them, too busy watching deer across the field. She never shows the deer, so that part of her story can't be verified. The Dogman stays still until 12 seconds when her daughter makes a noise. Stephanie says this is the moment when the Dogman looks over.
It's ear flick. Oh my god! It just looks and perked its ears up. What the f?
They accidentally zoom out so I don't see it move. Other people have said they can see it sniff the air and lick its nose, and I wanted to know if you can see any of those things happening here, because to be honest, I don't. She also posted a photograph to prove that this is a humanoid creature of some sort. It looks like it could be a person crouching down wearing a wolf mask at first, until you take a closer look. On top of his head are two horns and what looks like leathery wings wrapped around a bat-like body. Stephanie says the Dogman sighting is one of the many reported in the area, but this is the only one that she herself has seen. Tell me if you believe her. KT Camp records her overhead lights swaying back and forth. They start out moving clockwise, but at the end of the video, they are starting to move the other way. Maybe she twisted up the cord on purpose to make it do this, but that doesn't explain the orbs. There's an especially large one here that is different from the others in size, shape, and speed as well. Real haunting or just a fake attempt in a dusty kitchen? You tell me. This video, published by Adam in 2007, shows what the owner's dog has been barking at for several weeks. In the dark video, you can see the dog approach the outer door which leads into the kitchen. He seems like he's been alerted by something. He walks right up to the door, then something eerie happens. The door blinds open rapidly, then close just as rapidly. The dog waits there, and there's a tapping noise heard on the film as light appears from the outside. When the blinds open again, then they rapidly shut. The dog whines for a minute, and the blinds roll up a bit, and then a bit more, and then even more than that. The dog just sits guard at the door as the blinds roll up slowly. For the rest of the clip, the loyal and very concerned dog just sits there at the door, aware of the paranormal happenings, but not sure what to do about them. None of us are, Rex. This event is unexplainable in my opinion, but let me know if you have a different guess. You expect to come across witches at night, but in the broad light of day, somehow that's even scarier. Published in July of 2019, this video purports to show a witch spotted in Mexican ruins. A man is shown exploring the ruins. Little does he know, over his left shoulder, at a short distance glides the shadow of a witch. At first the men are oblivious, but as they turn around and walk back towards the entrance, the figure appears again. This time not lurking in the shadows, but rather in the light of day. The men are aware of its presence this time, and as they start to exclaim, the witch takes flight, up and away, hopefully as far away as humanly possible. The video is certainly blurry, which makes determining what this figure actually is quite difficult. Lispy Jimmy is a popular YouTuber and streamer with a loyal audience, but when somebody drops by his house uninvited at 3 a.m., he feels alarmed instead of flattered.
What to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is a fan or not, but...
Now, Lispy Jimmy finds himself in a scary predicament. He definitely does not want to go outside and risk getting attacked, but at the same time, he wants to catch this person on camera for future evidence. He decides to open the door and cautiously scans the yard. He doesn't see anything at first, but then there is some movement across the street. A tall man looks to be in distress as he paces in circles for no apparent reason at all. It's creepy enough to make Lispy Jimmy retreat into the house and check all the locks. He and his girlfriend spend the rest of the video wondering if someone else is there with them and jumping at every sound they hear. But they make it through the rest of the night without incident. I guess they could have staged this video with the help of a friend, but there is also a good chance that it could be a random fan or even an absolute stranger. There just isn't enough evidence for me to tell for sure, but I would like to get your impressions. This video was apparently taken in Bangalore, India. A motorcyclist with a GoPro is riding late at night. It appears to be a desolate rural road with no street lights. Soon the motorcyclist approaches something on the side of the road that is glowing white, taking no chances. He speeds past and then apparently uploads the footage at a later time. Normally, I'd say this is someone covered in a sheet. I don't think that would explain why it's literally glowing white though. Due to the glow, I would say there is a good chance this is actually paranormal. Two creepy videos show how a normal looking workplace break room is actually haunted when objects start moving on their own. The The object looks like it's being pulled with a string, but then it falls over in the opposite direction like a ghost pushes it. The second creepy video, taken on a different day, shows a coworker losing his mind when an apparent ghost moves more objects on their own. The hidden camera angle looks like this scary video could be a prank, like someone might have been making the objects move off camera in both videos. It's creepy though because according to them, no one else was there. What do you think about the scary things they've caught on tape? Is it paranormal? A store security cam in Malaysia has caught a ghost on tape, a strange figure that can teleport at will, and it's got the owners freaking out. I would be freaking out too. 55 seconds is when you can see there's nobody in these clothes. No chest, no head, no hands. Just clothes forming the outline of a person who isn't there. Then at 1 minute and 30 seconds, it sprouts a freaky gray featureless face. And did you see that even scarier, more mysterious figure behind her? 1 minute and 26 seconds is when a much taller shadow figure with a red face appears behind her and then mysteriously goes away. This could be a possession, a ghost, or a demon sighting, or even a hostile takeover from another planet, but it could also simply be video editing. Oh, and of course, this creepy encounter happened at 3:14 in the morning, just 14 minutes shy of 3 a.m., a time when the supernatural world is said to fully open with our own. Maxime is on a mission to communicate with the spirits in this house. Published by Realized Alterna in April of 2022, and originally published by YouTuber Paranormal Point, this ghost hunter may have made contact with the fiery depths below. As he begins his session at night, something begins to play the piano. A doll is mentioned through the spirit box, and outside this window he sees creepy glowing eyes. When he asks about the doll, he is simply told to find her, and find her he does. He asks what the doll's name is and receives a scary answer. He is told to do a ritual with the doll. As he's told it's dangerous here, he hears strange screams. He later lights the doll ablaze as part of the ritual. As he does, it raises its arm by itself. Is there anything more terrifying than this? Here's hoping the demon was exorcised. This huge wall of security monitors shows that everything in this building is silent, and still except for a single sign going haywire. I've seen signs twisting around from the air conditioning before, but this looks a little different. The back and forth swaying seems very deliberate, almost as if an invisible force is hanging off of it. I don't have much more information about this video, aside from it taking place somewhere in Singapore. Let me know what you think of it. A YouTuber named Dark Corners is exploring the deep web when he comes across a video that he instantly regrets watching due to a possible curse. A nauseating noise forces him to take off his headphones, and even though it's in a different language, he still knows that he has witnessed something he was never meant to see. If you are able to read Japanese, please translate the text into English so we can all better understand. I just wanted to add that this long beep is exactly the same noise that hospital equipment makes when you flatline, which leads me to think that this text could be talking about ending your very life. Let me know if you think my suspicions are correct, or if I was way off with this assumption. While exploring this haunted place, YouTuber Rodolfo Augusto and his crew are trying to escape the creature. Let's see if they do. They find a mysterious jar inside the home, but as they're examining it, a bang is heard.
Alguém abre.
Não sei. Porra, cacete.
Quem tá aí?
Eu acho que é o vento, mano. Tá vendo? Ó, ó, olha ali, ó. Ó.
They try to open the jar, but again hear a noise.
Excelente.
Não é vento, não.
Você vai tacar um negócio?
Foi reação.
They push this door open, but are too scared to enter.
Tem alguém aqui? Ui. Isso aí não é vento, não.
And yet it won't stop.
É vento.
Que é aquilo, velho?
Que é aquilo ali na porta?
That's when they finally see it.
Eu vi.
That's all I need for my dreams to forever be nightmares. A YouTuber named More Bad Ideas is riding his bike late at night. He normally would never go out at this odd hour, but he just got home from vacation, and he just can't wait until the morning breaks to ride again. It's a decision that he will soon regret. He's popping wheelies down empty streets and old parking lots when he comes across a random golf ball sticking out from a sewer grate. He's amused and throws it around for a bit. It lands in some grass next to something much weirder. A camcorder laying in a wet plastic bag. The camera still has a memory card and some battery life, so he curiously presses play.
Yo, what the f is this? Dude, are you serious right now? Yo, is that a knife with blood?
In case you couldn't see the screen clearly, the video shows a woman tied to a chair whimpering. Suddenly, a car puts its high beams on and floors it towards him. He hops on his bike and narrowly gets away. He sees the person chasing him one more time a short while later, and then he barely escapes again. Don Brada is checking out the crumbling floors of an abandoned office building while wearing a head cam. It isn't long before he hears what could be a door slam shut in the distance.
I swear I heard somebody.
He unsheaths a blunt instrument for protection and continues looking around. Part of him wants to leave, but there's just one more floor left to cover. Eventually, he comes across a section of the building that has collapsed into a large dark hole. I personally don't see anything, but some people claim to see another person looking back in the darkness. Tell me what you see, if anything. The whole time, Don Brada can't shake the feeling that he's being watched, so he leaves the building before anything can take him by surprise. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed there much longer, or worse still, visited at night. Located in South Carolina, YouTuber Mo Sargi claims that this is the original Crybaby Bridge. Mo finds he isn't the first to check it out and won't be the last.
I just found a Ouija board on the Crybaby Bridge.
What?
It's wet. That is crazy. I just found a Ouija board.
After finding this homemade Ouija board, a strange truck starts stalking Mo and his team.
Yeah, that's the same truck.
It's getting weird.
Oh, stop. Need to stop. Oh, he's coming back.
They return to their investigation, but after asking too many questions, they're met with a vice grip.
Did you love your husband?
What the f is that?
Something grabbed my neck.
Grabbed your neck?
Did the female ghost react negatively to this question? As they consider leaving, they sense a presence on the bridge.
I felt something walking over here, bro.
It's just watching us the entire time.
It touched me! It touched me! Oh.
I guess it's time to go. I believe Mo pushed the crybaby bridge ghost too far. She didn't like his nosiness, and she took it out on him. He is lucky he didn't become the next ghost to haunt this place. Christian Garcia and a couple of his friends are riding around on a motorcycle late at night through the streets of Mexico and are enjoying their night when suddenly they come across something absolutely terrifying and startling on the road. Right here. This seems to just be a really sort of like isolated road in the middle of nowhere. It's clearly nighttime. And this individual is just sitting out here, staring off into the distance. I wish they would have asked if they needed help. Instead, just sort of take off. But I guess they do decide they should turn around, which is the right thing to do, so respect to these guys.
Hola, señora. ¿Qué dice? ¿Qué? ¿Quién es? ¿Qué le pasa?
¿Cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama? Está en medio de la nada, ¿no? ¿Le pasa algo?
If anybody who speaks Spanish could please translate what was said in this conversation, but I assume they were asking if they were all right, to which they get no response from the stranger, and I think eventually just decide, yes, to just take off.
¿Le pasa algo?
Even when Christian and his friends drive back to where the mysterious stranger is sitting down on the side of the road, it doesn't really seem as though they are trying to talk to her too much, and I guess it makes sense because she is a complete stranger, and you never know exactly what a stranger is capable of. I just hope this person is okay and isn't suffering from any problems, but if they are, I hope they will be okay in due time. Is this a goblin? An extraterrestrial? Whatever it is, it's trending in the Brazilian YouTube community. Shared by YouTube channel EXTV, the video shows a gangly creature sitting dejectedly at the foot of stadium seating. It's hard to tell what this creature is, even more so after it looks up at us. Its glowing eyes and pointed ears do tell us one thing: it's not human. It moves to get up. And when it stands, you see just how gangly it is. Its long, thin limbs are barely able to lift its large, barrel-like body, but looks can be deceiving. On its feet, it turns out that it's quite nimble. That sound was terrifying. We can assume the cameraman lived to share this footage, but we can't assume he didn't pee his pants in the process. The footage looks real enough to be considered authentic. Even the creature's shadow seems to fall in accordance with all other shadows in frame, but this is, in fact, a production. I tracked down the original source, JJPD Producciones, which specializes in CGI. I'm happy to find that this creepy goblin doesn't exist in reality, at least I hope. A man is holding very still with his arm out at an odd angle. That's because he doesn't want to attract the wrath of this dangerous little fellow who somehow slithered into a scary situation. He is helpless as his friend carefully pinches his sleeve to determine where the snake is. He makes a cutting motion with his free hand to tell his friend what to do, not wanting to alert the snake with the vibrations of his voice. Once they carefully cut away the sleeve, you can see the snake is curled around his right bicep and in no hurry to leave. The mouth is right by his arm and it would take less than a second to strike with fangs. They wisely pull open the sleeve with the scissors to distract the snake and get its head away from his arm, but there's not enough room, so they need to cut more. By now, the snake is getting upset, so with no time left, they reach in and scoop him out. I guess they could have done that the whole time, but it was much too risky to be a first option. Take a look at its markings and tell me what kind of snake this is. I'm guessing by the way they handle it with such extreme caution that it has to be venomous. The Franklin County Old Jail, which was established in 1818, is widely known for being extremely haunted, and usually, it seems that whoever dares to enter finds themselves getting more than they bargained for. A YouTube channel named Paranormal Purgatory decided to venture down into the jail themselves to have a look around the place. The jail is eerily decrepit and worn down, something you'd expect from a 200-year-old building, but just because it's worn down doesn't mean that the place remains uninhabited.
Look at that. That's gonna be.
You see the old rocking horse in there?
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
I heard that too.
There's a whistle.
So next to the bed here, I do kind of see what they're talking about here. If you just focus on the bed, there appears to be just kind of this shadow, and then it almost seems to take off to the right here.
Old rocking horse in there?
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
Oh, right there. Okay, I now see exactly what they're talking about. So there's going to be a flash of light. So it looks like it's like a head and kind of a torso, and there's that flash of light, and then it looks like it just sort of pops right up. It happens so quickly. I should play this in slow motion. Right here, don't you see that? And then it just pops right up just in the split second that it's shown in the light. Even though the crew behind the channel had only just started to look around the jail, little did they know that they didn't need to look any further for signs of paranormal life, as you can make out what appears to be some sort of shadow figure right next to the bed, which vanishes just as quick as it appears. During the rest of the video, the crew explores the remaining areas of the jail, but are ultimately unable to find any other signs of paranormal activity. Even still though, seeing this shadow figure in person during an investigation would be enough to terrify anybody. An unnamed European castle is the subject of investigation on a ghost hunting YouTube channel called Paranormal Mystery. They are hastily setting up a CCTV system for the evening's investigation when they realize the battery is being drained from all of them really fast. But right before the cameras power down, they manage to capture this ghost on CCTV. A ghost walks by and dissipates before it reaches the last step. I don't know if this is computer editing, but the way it slowly shrinks and then goes away is more complex than a simple fade out shot. This video was taken in 2008, so the video quality is actually quite good and still holds up to this day. Their surprised reactions make me think this could be real. These contractors are doing some roof work when a woman who none of them have ever seen before decides to randomly scale the ladder and walk around the roof like she owns the place. The workers eventually convince her to climb down the ladder after a minute of debate, but judging from how she comes down, it's obvious that she doesn't have much concern for her safety or anyone else's. Here she nearly pulls the ladder over on herself. She would have absolutely sent the ladder to the ground if she was even just a few rings lower.
What is she doing? What is she
I don't know if she's under the influence of something or having a nervous breakdown, but I have trouble believing anyone in their right mind would try this next maneuver from any distance, let alone from so high up. Next, she hangs off the ladder like a trapeze artist and does one of the craziest dismounts I have ever seen. Watch how badly the ladder wobbles. It really does look like it's going to give out at any second.
Oh my goodness, what's wrong with this lady?
The video ends as soon as she's on the ground, so I'm not sure what happens next. Hopefully they got her the medical attention she needs and did not let her go down the street to do something even more reckless. Shared by YouTuber Random Videos 5, a supposed witch was captured on camera approaching the security guard in the street late at night. Let's see it unfold. As he nears the wailing sound, he starts reciting a prayer, and then he sees her. The witch comes toward him, wailing. To me, she appears to walk very stiffly and has an uncanny narrow form. The security guard backs away as she continues to bellow. I think this is a real witch. I've never seen or heard anything like it before. And what I really want to know is if she is cursing him. And are we cursed too by proxy? We better say sorry to this witch before we're cursed next. Him and two of his friends are going to explore a house that is legendarily haunted. According to local lore, this is a place where devil-worshipping members used to perform rituals, and the surrounding area has never been the same since. Beyond this information, all they know is that its general location is somewhere deep in the woods. They follow a trail and eventually come across a large abandoned house in the middle of the night. The three of them all get a strange feeling and instantly know that they are in the right spot. The door is open and they bravely march inside. Beyond a room filled with strange scrawlings, they find a dark room that stinks like something rotting. Dolls are hanging by their necks. Just when they are about to leave, they suddenly are approached by something that comes up from behind.
Do you hear that?
A strange and unsettling gurgling noise follows them as they run out of the house and into the open night air. Whether this was scripted or legitimate is anyone's guess, only they know for sure, but even still, they may be too shaken to talk about it. Redditor Twisted Desire doesn't know what to think after seeing this in her backyard. Upon receiving an alert that there was movement at her back door, this is what the notification pulled up. To me, it almost looks like the darkness is breathing. The Redditor says there were no outside lights on. Some think it's just fog. Others see a demonic face appearing there. Do you see it? I honestly see it too, but I think that may just be pareidolia. However, I do think there's an energy in the darkness making itself known. Is it good or bad? Only time will tell. This video captures a total stranger on a bridge waving hello to rush hour traffic in a full clown outfit. A stranger waving to no one in particular is creepy enough, but take a look at its arm. Maybe it's just the angle, but the arm seems way too long and thin to belong to any person. Slow it down at the 15-second mark, and you can see the forearm alone looks to be the same length as a normal person's entire arm. A Miami woman was fast asleep on her couch when an unusually creepy looking woman decides to enter her home, captured on the homeowner's Canary home security system. This stranger was filmed the entire time she rummaged through this house. Even more odd is how this woman hovers over the homeowner on the couch, watching her sleep. I originally thought this video was fake because the stranger looks like the possessed girl in your typical scary movie, but the incident is 100% real and most likely wouldn't be believed without this footage. This individual was never caught or identified. A YouTuber named Fauzi Ki Danaya of Pakistan has caught some creepy things on tape while exploring a haunted building that used to be a school.
तो ये मेरे लिए एक फ़ायदा है। ये भाई क्या मुसीबत है अंदर।
It doesn't take very long for the scary stuff to begin.
ये मेरे चला खैर इसको। क्या आप जिन हो? ओए अल्लाह अल्लाह अल्लाह अल्लाह अल्लाह। ओए कैसी आवाज़ है यार? ओए अल्लाह।
His ghost meter detects a presence in this room shortly before the paranormal activity ramps up a lot and a window slams shut on its own.
रात में नहीं हुई। इस जगह पे जो भी चीज़ मौजूद है, ये कैमरा भी घूमे जा रहा है, ब्लर क्यों हो रहा है बार बार? क्यों ब्लर हो रहा है ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा मुझे।
A final loud crash sends him running out of the building to see what's making all of the noise. All he finds is a stray cat outside, which he suspects is a shape-shifting jinn because no cat would walk towards all that commotion. I'm not so sure about all that, but I do think it's strange how this classroom is the only place where weird haunted things get caught on camera. Exploring the rest of the haunted school reveals no other paranormal activity, just whatever's by this window. Rancor Slayer begins his video of a bare white basement wall. He says he and his sister were playing down in this basement with Nerf guns when he was pushed against this wall, which sounded hollow. He said this surprised him because there's nothing there in the plans of the house. He takes a drill to the wall, cutting a little hole to take a look. He then pokes a screwdriver through to make the hole cleaner. He cuts through the wall, digs through the insulation and says, "There is something here, but what is that something?" He says he feels cold air there, so there must in fact be something beyond. He clears the insulation out of the way. There's a piece of plywood behind it, and when he pushes the plywood over, he finds an entire hidden room. The room is rather large but short, so he crouches while exploring the area. In the corner of the room, there's a briefcase covered by leaves. "This is what I was imagining would be in here," he says. Inside, he finds Canadian money, Pez dispensers, toys which he says appear to be from the 70s, an old coin purse with old coins inside, some colored pencils, a Burger King pin, and a hockey ribbon. Some claim the video is fake, but this YouTuber says that this must be a time capsule because some of the money is sealed. He says his family has lived in this house for 16 years now, and the room had remained hidden all this time. So what do you think, staged or not? You decide. A YouTube channel called Good Cemeteries Gone Bad captures this scraggly sighting in broad daylight while investigating the Anclote Cemetery in Florida. They wanted to know if this was a spider web or a spirit, and I know that different spiders make different looking webs, but I have to say this looks like no spider web that I have ever seen before around where I live. Plus, look at the way it simply disappears upon hitting the light. That's not normal. So if you live in Florida, please let us know if this looks like any of the webs in your area, because I'm inclined to say that this is the paranormal at work. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Buddy and Rascal. This two-part submission starts with a photo. The Redditor wrote, "Caught this face while me and my mom were putting the boards on our basement windows. Our house was built in 1901. This image got a ton of upvotes with commenters praising its realness and asking for more evidence. The Redditor then posted a video writing, "Here is a video of our basement. I personally don't see anything, but if you guys do, please let me know." In the comments, Wrangler Greedy 2976 thought they saw movement in the crawl space at the 16-second mark.
So you walk down here, and the first thing you're greeted by is our crawl space. I don't know what light to turn on so you can see it better, but that's our crawl space. And then this is the window that the face was in. Don't like this window, but the crawl space isn't much better. There isn't very good vibes back here.
Do you see what this commenter is talking about? Nevertheless, let's hope Buddy and Rascal are able to capture more paranormal evidence in this home. Do you believe in teleportation? This video may convince you. Published to YouTube by Esocentric and Paranormal World in February of 2019. This dashcam video shows a figure teleporting into the middle of a busy street, resulting in a traffic mishap. In the clip, vehicles are barreling down a highway when all of a sudden, a figure dressed in black seems to fall through a glitch in the matrix and right onto the scene. The white vehicle in front of the source with the dashcam moves out of the way just in time, avoiding the figure by mere feet. The teleporting figure moves off to the side, but is seen bending over, as if sick, or maybe as if to crouch down out of view. The driver gets out of his vehicle, but doesn't approach the teleporter. The car with the dashcam simply drives off. It's unclear if any investigation into the strange occurrence followed. Mapat Bare in the comments suggests this person got out of the car. Others agree that the man either jumped out, fell out, or was forced out. If that's the case though, wouldn't you see a car door fling open? All the doors on this vehicle appear to be closed the entire time. It's a conundrum, but don't worry, we have plenty of time to figure this one out. Published by Tim Morozov in December of 2021, the paranormal investigator enters the most haunted of houses and encounters one of the most dangerous level 5 poltergeists he's ever faced off with. In the video, Tim draws a circle in chalk on the floor in the living room. Cameras are set up all around. He asks the spirits in the home to move things. After a time, something triggers one of his paranormal devices. The thermal imaging camera shows a great white orb floating in the vicinity. The orb passes by him where it hovers over the Ouija board. The planchette starts to spaz out all over the board. It doesn't seem to be spelling anything, it's just going berserk. The light then floats out of frame. After this, several items in the room float into the air. The light reappears and then seems to brush past Tim, knocking him to the floor. It comes back and knocks him again. Is this the most aggressive poltergeist you've ever seen? Tim left with his life this time, but next time he might not be so lucky.
January 21st, about 11 p.m. I'm a couple hundred feet from my house, and you hear it going off in the background right now. Kind of sounds weird.
A brave man hears sinister laughter near his house and rushes outside to investigate. The maniacal laughter is moving closer to where he is standing now. He stands by the streetlight rather than going any further into the darkness on his own. I was thinking that this could be a simple coyote, but then he says this.
If foxes and coyotes have been around here that long, why we wouldn't have heard them before? And all of a sudden, since November, things have been just going crazy around our community.
So apparently foxes and coyotes have been around this area for a long time, and never have they made these kinds of noises before, meaning that this was probably something different. I also really want to know what he meant when he says that strange things have been happening in his community in November. This video was apparently taken on a reservation in Oregon, but if anyone knows which one, then please let me know so that I can do some further research. Anyway, things seem to be quieting down when all of a sudden shots are fired and an unearthly scream fills the night air. If this was not a fox or a coyote, then what could it possibly have been? Something in this pizzeria has had enough. Posted to TikTok by Flaming Belladonna 3. This short clip shows what happens when you anger the pizza gods. The clip shows several workers standing around in the kitchen. On a pizza belt to the right, a pizza flipper and a slicer are sitting on the top belt. As the girls chat, the slicer suddenly shoots off the shelf and knocks one of them in the head. How in the world could this happen? Some think the workers angered a ghost by putting pineapple on the pizza. Others, like Jonathan Zwar, suggest that the slicer was on the conveyor and probably was pushing against the metal lip, causing it to be propelled when the tension released. Many in the comments, however, would rather focus on the danger of that slicer. The 509 Grim Knight writes, that could have easily been in Final Destination. So now that all the facts are in, what do you think? Is this an angry pizza ghost or an angry conveyor belt? On October 17th, 1989, nature struck its fear into the lives of loads of baseball fans. Game 3 was to start at 5:35 at the Candlestick Park Stadium in San Francisco. The stadium was filled with thousands of baseball fans, but before they could sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," at 5:04, the quake started to shake the earth, the first ever to be broadcast on live TV.
At second base, so the Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
According to Wikipedia, experts credit the timing of the series as a lucky break that prevented mass loss of life in the region. Key in reducing the loss of life was the fact that many people on both sides of the bay had left work early or were staying late to participate in after-work group viewings and parties, reducing the traffic that would otherwise have been on the collapsed freeways at 5:04 on a Tuesday. The ABC News crew was live on air at the event, and their feed was temporarily knocked out when the quake struck. The audio was restored before the video, and one of the anchors is heard saying the quake was the greatest opening in the history of television, bar none. The Goodyear blimp actually helped coordinate emergency assistance, and of course, Game 3 was postponed. The delay is the longest in the history of the World Series. When the game actually played out 10 days later, emergency responders were honored with throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. Pretty terrifying to watch. Lives were lost, but heroes came out of the woodwork, and that's a beautiful thing. While the front of a restaurant is running like clockwork, behind the scenes, things are heating up. That's what happened to Zach Burrell, who was working at McDonald's in 2011 when a grease fire occurred. He published his video of heroism in October of 2011, noting that it was him putting the grease fire out and that he was poorly trained to do so. In the beginning of the video, you can see the flames spring up in the cooker. Then there's a mass panic in the kitchen, and workers start racing around, trying to figure out what to do. Every effort they make seems to throw heat on the flames, lighting it up more. Zach explains what happened. First, I pulled the wrong mounted extinguisher, and the grill was covered in liquid. Then one of my crew members tried putting an oily lid on top of the vat to cut the oxygen off. It fell in sideways and the flames doubled. In the end, Zach grabbed a fire extinguisher to douse the flames, but not before the entire kitchen filled with smoke, leaving a dramatic scene that could have led to lives being lost. Pretty crazy, he writes, but at least I saved the store. The Coonan Ghost House is a famous cottage in Ireland that has been haunted for over 100 years by a terrifying poltergeist who was possibly brought about by a witch in the family. Not even an exorcism was enough to rid the house of its curse, and so the family fled into the woods. Now, members of a paranormal research team called NK Hauntings are ready to go exploring the abandoned building in search of the legendary poltergeist and other scary things they can find. The investigation gets off to a rocky start when they jumble their words while addressing the spirit that resides there.
If there's anybody with us, you can communicate. Sorry, I'll start that again because that made no sense.
But something must have understood what they were getting at, because a possible ghost orb disappears into one of them shortly afterwards, perhaps selecting the ghost hunter with the most agreeable aura. The team puts down paranormal devices that will only light up when something taps on them. Just standing near the device or walking by will not set off this paranormal equipment, but a ghost touching it will. It isn't long before they hear scary noises even though there is no traffic and no wind. They're arguing about which direction it comes from when they hear it again. More scary noises.
Like it will come from that direction or in that direction.
No, I can't even hear it out here.
There, your cap all that up beside Alex.
Here's the paranormal sound again. Some kind of rising noise just before their paranormal equipment detects a ghost tapping on it.
I can't even hear it out here.
There, your cap.
Just to be sure, they all stand away from the ghost hunting equipment and ask the poltergeist to tap their equipment again.
Or light up another, oh my god.
And when the paranormal energy resides, they are able to summon the spirit again just by casually talking about it.
This poltergeist that used to torment the family, it used to bang around up the stairs apparently in the loft area and...
Capo.
They note how cold it is in the vicinity where the poltergeist is believed to be standing, and the complete absence of life and warmth overwhelms them all. The trio activates a ghost listening device and picks up 2 words you never want to hear in a legendarily haunted house at night.
Murder. What? Murder. Murder. Was there someone home here?
I think an EVP of a woman's cut-off scream in reply to this morbid question certainly counts as a yes. A YouTuber named Darwin Quesada gets no further than a single step into an abandoned house when he hears footsteps from inside, high heels to be exact. He and his friends are determined to find the source of the commotion, so they climb the steps to the top floor. The footsteps resume and a swirling cluster of white orbs appears when these sounds, much worse than footsteps, catch them by surprise. They run down the steps at the sound of a door slamming somewhere unseen, but eventually convince each other to go back upstairs. They search every room and can't find where the footsteps are coming from, but then the footsteps grow louder, and 4 minutes is the exact moment the footsteps enter the room they are in from behind and walk right past where they are standing. The group is besides themselves and giddy with fear at this point, because it sounds like they are now walking around inside of these cabinets, which is obviously impossible, and yet happening before their eyes. Darwin's initial relief that nothing is behind the door is swept away by horror when this happens. The third door swings open on its own, without a sound, and they all run away without getting a clear look inside. According to the title of this video, what they saw was a real phantom staring back at them. It's gruesome, the likes of which you or I cannot even begin to fathom. While investigating the haunted Bel Air house, Sunny finds that the stories are true. Sunny's experience there gets off to a rocky start. The crew starts to sense things and hear things.
Oh my. What? Oh man, Sonny was coming up.
You cheating? Why you got your light on?
I was trying to come down the steps.
You got your light on too. Y'all up here like a bunch of just turn your light off.
My light is off now. Okay.
And then footsteps.
Came over here. Listen. Sounded like footsteps, but I think maybe picking up Kristen's.
But do they belong to his crew? Or is someone unseen closer than he thinks? Either way, I think it's time to find the exit of this place. The Vancouver Paranormal Society investigates a house whose owner has been complaining of strange activity during late hours. They gather in the living room and decide to address the spirit outright. You can hear 2 taps after they try and get its attention.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
They next explain the rules of communication and get no response.
Give me a knock for yes or 2 knocks for no.
That means it actually tapped twice to signify no when they said they were going to ask it a series of questions. Not only did it respond, but it somehow knew what it was going to be asked before they even said the question. As if that wasn't weird enough. As soon as they ask the spirit if it used to live here, they get a visual disturbance in front of the pillow that's in the woman's lap.
Did you used to live here?
Somehow the team misses all of these signs and declares the house to be uninhabited by spirits. After watching these instances, however, I beg to differ. Zaiknikov is exploring the Bauer House, an old farmhouse in West Virginia, when he catches something of interest leaning out the window. This gray specter watches over them from afar. If you still don't see it, it's looking to the left and the lighter colored area at the bottom is its right shoulder. Don't worry, if it's too hard to see, Zake didn't see it at first either. His camera passes right over it and doesn't notice until they were already far away. I think it looks like it could be the reflection of a cloud, but at the same time I do agree it looks like it could be the spirit of a person watching them enter, and if it is, it doesn't seem pleased. Explore With Us is an interesting YouTube channel where a family explores abandoned places that are way out in the middle of nowhere. During one expedition, the crew stumbles upon an old log cabin that gives them a bad feeling from the beginning. They decide to enter anyway. They poke around for a while and find mostly nothing else but trash. The floor is littered with cardboard and scraps of wood. Then they come across what I feel was the source of their hesitation earlier.
Some more clothes on the ground. We need a flashlight.
An old noose hangs directly above a pile of old tattered clothes. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but I'm thinking whoever used to own this place may have let themselves out, to put it mildly. I guess they didn't think to kick aside the clothes to see if there were any human remains underneath. Or maybe they just didn't want to know the answer. Truly a sad situation all around. Dan Sutherland has a very nondescript closet in his room with a plain looking wooden door. For some reason, his baby girl Lily has taken an extreme interest in the closet lately, and he thinks he might know why.
I remind you, there's a closet. If you don't know what's up there, here we go. Watch. What you'll see over there.
There's absolutely nothing about the outside of the closet that should attract Lily's attention for a single second, but her gaze seems utterly transfixed at times. There is, however, something inside that she might be interested in, though she should have no idea of its presence or its implications. As it turns out, Lily's grandmother recently passed away, and inside of that closet is the very same shirt her grandma was wearing on that day, along with some other personal belongings. What's even more strange is that Dan recently moved them into the closet on the day before Mother's Day. Prior to this, Lily had never really taken notice of the closet much before. Now Dan is wondering if Lily is detecting her grandma's presence, and quite honestly, so am I. If you can think of any reason for Dan's daughter to look over at that ordinary looking closet with such a pleased expression on her face for so long, then please let me know. I personally have no idea what could be holding her attention like that, except for her grandmother's comforting presence. YouTuber Jasti Sandhu Official captured what he believes is a real witch on camera. First, he hears her crying. Then he sees her. Then she lets out this wail that would drive anyone away. Is this truly a witch? I think so. I've never heard something so otherworldly in my life. A gut feeling, a sensation is almost worse than the reality itself. Say you're alone in the forest, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you get the sensation that something is watching you. What do? Druid Raven Scout published this video in August of 2015, explaining this very scenario. Well, he packed up his bags to leave the forest. He said he felt something that he couldn't explain, a gut feeling that something or someone was following him. He said he felt threatening sensations as he walked the path over a couple of hours. He had planned on staying in the forest another night, but his intuition was telling him not to. During the 18-minute video, he explains that he feels like he's being observed. He also says he heard something strange up in the trees as he walked the path earlier. He does manage to escape the forest without meeting his stalker, but not without shaking the feeling that something certainly was watching. Shand Ali Jat is a ghost hunting fashion model with a YouTube channel based out of Pakistan. Look what happens moments after he is caught on camera getting chills. A low-flying bat distracts them long enough to turn their back to a boarded-up window. Something bangs on this barricade from the other side. They stand in the center of the room more than an arm's length away from everything in sight. The ghost always seems to wait until their back is turned before it throws open a door or a window. They put a scroll in front of the fireplace, and the evil spirit sets the parchment on fire out of disapproval. The way it goes out is just as unnatural as the way it begins. None of them did anything to cause this that I can see. It's as if it spontaneously combusted. As they examine the door, this YouTuber is thrown into the wall by a paranormal force. It doesn't look like he jumped into the wall either. His head is up and his arms are down as if he's being held by the neck as he lays gasping on the ground. One of their cameras captures the fireplace silently roaring back to life, like it's feeding off of their fear. Meanwhile, this final ghost sighting is caught on tape in the far corner of the room. It might be edited, but based on all of the other creepy paranormal evidence, I wouldn't be surprised if it was real. YouTuber named Dylan James TV hears a low metallic humming noise and starts recording. Everything from religious warnings to alien technology has been suggested as possible explanations. I'm not sure what it is, but I will say that this definitely sounds like some sort of mysterious buzzing noise. Tell me if you think this sounds like a machine or something else. SS3 Paranormal was editing on her computer when she heard a noise. She didn't notice what happened until after she rewatched this video, published by SS3 Paranormal in February of 2022. You're about to see what happened. Watch closely behind her.
What was that?
At this point, you hear what she heard. The YouTuber notes that it was a red car that somehow managed to roll itself off the shelf. Do you see it? Just another of the many things they tried to keep secret. Onasi Olio Rojas uses Facebook Live to record himself doing 115 miles per hour on the highway in Providence, Rhode Island, blasting loud music the entire time. He thinks nothing of swerving in and out of traffic, cutting off cars over and over again while going breakneck speeds. His high-speed escapade only lasts about 2 minutes before he cuts into the shoulder and fails to pull off a quick 2-lane change.
Let's get it, puppy.
What you don't see in the final moments of this video is the garbage truck slamming into him from behind, sending Onasi into the concrete barrier and then into a dead stop in the middle of the road. He survived and was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest, followed by 6 months of probation. Based on this video, tell me if you think he has received a fair sentence. An Australian deep-sea fisher named Cavi brings aboard a sea creature he's never seen before. An unknown fish with a face too bizarre to put into words. It's bugging out as much as they are, eyes and tongue ready to burst. It's probably puffing up to scare them, and doesn't look like this all the time, or at least I hope not. Nobody has been able to figure this one out, so maybe you can explain to them what kind of fish this is. A TikToker named Anna Face captures this extra eerie spider creeping around her garage that's almost as wide as the glass jar she uses to catch it. Only when she traps it and takes a closer look, does she notice dozens, if not hundreds of baby spiders crawling all over this poor host, even around its mouth and eyes. I don't know if this brood is harmlessly hitching a free ride, or if they're devouring their mother alive for nourishment, and I really don't know if I want to find out, but I guess you can tell me what's going on if you really want to. Anyway, Anna Face has mercy on the spider and lets it out into the wild to possibly live another day. It doesn't seem to have a problem running away, so I think this was a mother spider trying to find a good place to release her young, which somehow doesn't make it any less horrifying. Seen at a distance, TikToker Jen Us 58 is wondering, what is that? Let's take a look. The figure appears to be running in the beginning and then, mysteriously, stands frozen still. When the driver flashes its lights, the figure starts running again. He gets closer and finds that the figure appears headless. It then disappears into the darkness. But when he returns to his car, he turns to find the ghost has reappeared. So was it a ghost or something else? Well, I'm pondering that question. Most in the comments are wondering why the guy even got out of his car. Something still haunts this tunnel, and Franco from the YouTube channel Franco TV is delving deep into the belly of the beast. He sees signs that he's not the first one here.
It won't be like this for too long. There's even a handprint up there. But it won't be like this for too long. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get quiet.
In the tunnel, he hears something off-putting.
You just heard something there, which caught me off guard.
He asks the spirits a question, and they answer via the K2 meter.
Si tú estás aquí conmigo, ¿tú puedes hacerlo otra vez? It's going. See?
When Franco turns off the lights, the spirits turn them on again.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn off all the lights. So it's gonna be really hard to see anything. Okay? Yo voy a apagar todas las luces.
As Franco leaves the tunnel, he comes across a makeshift memorial, which seems to indicate that a number of people passed away in this very place.
It is actually ridiculously scary. Especially this part here. It looks like several people died over here.
Did Franco just communicate with one of them? I have no doubt, and hopefully that communication helped them reach the other side. This double doll haunting recently occurred somewhere in South America. Two girls are happily talking to the camera while clutching their Barbie dolls. They are admiring their toys when suddenly their toys admire them back. Both dolls twist their head all the way around to look at the girls, who scream and throw their possessed toys to the floor. You can clearly see that the girls are not holding the dolls anywhere near their heads when they start to move, so maybe it is real after all. If anyone can translate what these girls were saying, then perhaps it will help us figure out if this video is fake or legitimate after all. This is a witch's abode, and even in the afterlife she has not laughed. Dennis from YouTube channel Dark Life is paying the haunted house a visit in this scary video. While taking some photographs in this room, he sees something in the mirror that gives him pause. He explains what he saw.
Это мне реально сейчас не показалось. В зеркале, в том проходе кто-то стоял. Вот там.
This is what he actually captured on camera. While it does appear to be the profile of a person, it could also simply be shadows falling in a perturbing manner. But later, this happens.
Как так, я не понимаю. В зеркале она была. В проеме в этом.
What do you see here? Again, I feel like this could just be pareidolia. The way the light and shadows fall is conjuring up images that aren't really there. Or are they?
В зеркале она была.
It does look like a shadow is reaching out to touch Dennis at this point. Haunting Jersey uploaded a YouTube video of a girl performing various different gymnastics exercises in her kitchen, along with a friend of hers via a Skype or FaceTime call. The two perform one move, complementing each other, then move on to the next. But what started off as a fun and innocent way to pass the time quickly turns into something frightening. Did you guys see that? So it's right here beside the blender. Yes, right here, this object. It's a paper towel holder, I believe. And obviously terrifies this poor girl here.
What was that? Obviously you were terrified. Yeah, that was loud. What was it?
And it gets the attention of even the person that she's on FaceTime with.
The paper towel holder just fell. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, anyway.
And right as soon as she's back to just brush it off as, you know, whatever, don't know what happened, don't care, this thing right over here falls to the ground and just shatters absolutely everywhere. And I feel like if these were both on strings, wouldn't the paper towel holder have knocked that off at the same time? Because both the strings would kind of need to be in the same area. Understandably scared because she just saw something go flying across the room, the girl proceeds to ask her friend if they saw it too, to which they respond, saying that they did, and they mention it sounded loud as well. Amazingly though, the girl is actually able to shake off any sort of fears she may have had by saying everything is fine, and she continues on with more exercises. But when it happens for a second time, she immediately runs for the camera and turns it off. Hopefully this was the first and last time this happened to this poor girl, and hopefully if it did persist, they got out of this house. A YouTuber wants to go exploring at an old abandoned school on the edge of the town in Searsboro, Iowa, a place rumored to be haunted and made even scarier by some nearby creepy woods. The school was shut down 2 times and nobody really knows why, or at least the local townsfolk don't want to say. The inside is trashed and has no power, and yet their equipment makes a low rumble from an electronic disturbance coming from this stairway. Notice how the sound goes away as soon as they turn away from the steps.
Do we even want to try and go with that?
I mean, yeah, I'll do it. I keep trying.
Or should we go this way?
I thought I heard from over here.
Let's just explore that area. Should we go across the catwalk or this way?
Something paranormal is definitely up there. A strange feeling keeps them all away. In the next room, this rope moves by itself and then a bucket quickly follows. A second rope gets pulled and it's hard to say if all of this is a ghost or one of them off camera. On their way out of the abandoned property, they find this creepy secret room. Why a school would have a hidden room is beyond me, and also beyond creepy. Keeping a student down there would definitely get your school shut down. They find another small room hidden away and decide to go in. Inside is a message that says something bad happened in this secret room. It's an old worn message written long ago, not by them, but perhaps a former student. A creepy noise ends the exploration as fast as it began, and when they look back at the abandoned building, they see what could be a pale ghost in the window. A paranormal YouTube channel called Explore With Us goes ghost hunting after their subscribers told them to go back and investigate more at 3 a.m. The first time they saw mysterious lights, but this time they catch even more bizarre things on video. In the 1970s, a woman named Nan Dixon mysteriously disappeared somewhere around this unassuming Nevada countryside. It isn't long until they see what could be headlights, and the locals are not friendly, so it's time to get out quick. The strange lights mysteriously disappear soon enough, however, so maybe it really was just a passing car. As he drives up to one of the abandoned houses that the ghost of Nan Dixon is thought to haunt, he thinks they see a solid black ghost orb at 8 minutes, which would be beyond creepy to see, except I'm pretty sure it's just a smudge on their car windshield. With that said, I'm not sure what this strange 3 a.m. sighting could be, except for a phantom face slowly slinking away in the dark room. The battery to some of their camera equipment goes out after this strange sighting, and 2 mysterious lights are caught on tape as well, almost like spaced apart eyes under the shelf. Soon their paranormal equipment begins to flash with supernatural energy, and the mysterious lights return stronger than ever before. They see another strange and mysterious flash of light that cannot be explained, and even when they go exploring a different abandoned house that's driving distance away, strange paranormal lights seem to follow. An urban exploration channel called Urbex with Taffy goes investigating an underground bunker when they start to feel incredibly watched for no reason at all. They pause at the entrance to a dark room and, night vision rolling, call out to any haunting the tunnels with them.
Okay, alright, so is there anyone in here with us? Will you make a sound? Just make a noise?
In the doorway is a shadow person who is not Taffy nor his friend, Carl. As you can see both of their shadows, it's weird that a third shadow appears as soon as they ask for a sign, but this wouldn't be too hard to fake with a third person's help. The question is whether or not it was really the 2 of them down there in the creepy haunted tunnel. And that's something only Carl and Taffy will know for sure. If you heard an unexplainable spine-tingling sound, would you have the guts to go investigate?
What is that sound?
Published to YouTube by Jared McLean in February of 2019, he explains that he heard this terrifying noise outside at 2 in the morning. He said that the sound started out of nowhere and reminded him of a scary movie soundtrack. The noise seemed to be occurring a few blocks away, so he went to get dressed and drove over there to investigate. But the minute he went to leave, the sound ceased. Jared said he wondered if it was paranormal or some natural phenomenon. He asked for his fellow YouTubers to chime in with their theories. Some suggest it sounds like a badly tuned orchestra. Others say someone must have set off every car alarm at once. Still others believe it could be a train's brakes being applied on a nearby railroad track. And even more claim that they've heard the same sound themselves. Nash TV Guy put in his own 2 cents writing, "There are a ton of reports from all over the world of these strange sounds, with suggestions ranging from underground bases and drilling. What they all have in common is they're scary." At least we can all agree on that much. Any clue as to what this sound could be? This convincingly real ghost sighting was caught on a Ring doorbell camera, tilted at an interesting perspective that shows us more than most other scary doorbell cam videos ever do. The mysterious figure appears from nothingness, which is scary enough, but what makes one of the creepiest things ever caught in the history of doorbell cameras is how the apparition continues to walk down the street for 37 seconds before disappearing again. Feel free to prove me wrong, but this could actually be a real ghost sighting caught on camera. Freaky, right? Have you ever caught something creepy on video while using an app? That's what happened to these people, who posted the footage to Reddit. Watch the window behind the girl. About 4 seconds into this clip, you'll spot exactly what scared her. At the beginning of the video, nothing can be seen silhouetted by the light from the window, but 4 seconds in, when the girl pans over the window again, this figure appears. What is that? It looks like the figure is walking around inside her apartment. While some think this is obviously a ghost, and others a gargoyle, some in the comments of the video are in fear for the girl's life. Viggy Poos writes, "If it's not a ghost, it may be an intruder. Please call the police." Others believe that there's some more plausible explanations. Nicosaurus Rex, for instance, says that it looks like it could be some item stood up on a dresser or surface that she passes by. It does appear as though she's turning the corner while trying to avoid something near the hallway, so the explanation could very well be just that. The figure is rather something out of focus stood on a surface closer to the hallway. Whatever it is, I think we can all agree this video raises many questions, while at the same time being incredibly creepy. This is one for the books. Published by ABCD in April of 2009, this phantom was reportedly captured in Bangalore. The scary clip shows a semi-transparent woman emerging from a wall. With long dark hair and dressed in white, the apparition glides across the floor, traveling straight through all objects around her, including a gate, before disappearing out of frame. What do you think of this full-bodied apparition? I'm just gonna put it out there. It's one of the realest looking ghosts I've ever seen. Why would you ever chase a ghost? Ask these children, who came across one while playing at night. The description of this video explains that a week after a woman took her own life, the residents claimed that a female ghost with long hair was plaguing the area after curfew. Children were trying to catch a bird in the area at night, when instead they found the ghost and gave chase. In the footage, the children are crying out and laughing as they chase a figure dressed in white along the railway. The figure is seen in a distance in the darkness. It appears to be walking slowly, swaying slightly. The boy follows just as slowly behind it, keeping a safe distance from the figure. Kids in the background eventually start crying. At the end of the video, the figure leaves the tracks and disappears in the darkness. If you ask me, they're lucky they didn't catch it. In 2009, a paranormal research group was tasked with investigating ghost sightings at a cemetery in Tampa Bay. They review weeks worth of footage and uncover some weird things caught on camera. They think this video is paranormal because an odd light goes behind a marker, placing this object, be it a ghost, an orb, or whatever you want to call it, somewhere behind the fence. Therefore, it's not a bug or a dust particle moving up close, though it could simply be edited. The ghost hunters claim to record the spot for 3 more weeks before any other paranormal evidence is caught on video. This time their camera picks up a shadow figure moving off screen, along with some kind of ethereal mist blanketing this area that does not look like normal fog. It happens at the same time a car drives by, so I'm hoping this shadow figure is just caused by passing headlights. Otherwise, this video might be as paranormal as they say. One day, a YouTuber named Michelle Burse and her friends are startled to find something burrowing beneath the ice.
Oh my God. Wow.
They are positive that something is causing the ice to crack and splinter as it digs a path under their feet. While I do see what they think, I'm pretty sure that this is just the formation of ice in real time. Still, I'd like to get your opinion to confirm. If I'm wrong, then I have no idea what could be shifting the ice like that. Published by El Paso, yeah. What did this garage's security camera capture in the cover of darkness? This mysterious figure breezes past, but from what I can make out, the stiff way it moves does not look human. Let's take a closer look. Its form too appears inhuman. Even considering the low quality of the camera, this doesn't look like any type of kid or animal I've ever seen. I'm fairly certain it's extraterrestrial. Do you have any theories? If you ever find yourself in the middle of nowhere at night, beware who or what else might be out there with you. Published in January of 2020, Junked Up Kitten asserts that a ritual had occurred in his yard of 20 acres in the Pikes Peak Wilderness area of Colorado. In the video, the man says he just got home and his wife left almost immediately for her night shift. He was playing some games on his computer when his dog started freaking out. That's when he started to hear a weird whistling coming from outside, so he dons his boots and other winter gear before heading out to investigate the matter, with his dog in the remote darkness. Already courageous in my opinion. He walks out into the snow under a full moon, checks on his hens in their hen house, and also walks through his storage sheds. That's when he hears his dog barking like crazy.
Well, you got something?
He sets out in search of his dog to see what's got him all riled up and comes across a strange sight. Chicken feet and a bone hanging from a tree by some orange twine. Off in the distance, he spots fire in the darkness, which he says looks like candlelight. Needless to say, this all freaks him out. He decides to investigate and starts walking towards the distant fire. Soon he comes across the ritualistic setting. Tarot cards are all laid out on the ground, surrounded by 5 votive candles, an unlit lantern, and a purple cloth bag. It seems that Ziggy, the dog, scared off whoever was out there. They left the place in a hurry, abandoning the ritual ceremony, tarot cards and all. So many questions remain. Who were these people? Why were they on the man's property in the first place? And what were they doing? Most importantly, what do the tarot cards read? Hopefully, this man's property isn't now cursed. Lingering above the Colony venue in Woodstock, New York, YouTuber Woodstock Webgirl captured this strange, unidentified flying object on camera. What is that? Here's a closer look. One YouTuber says it's an airplane, but I've never seen an airplane appear round in form, even from a great distance. Airplanes also don't generally hang in the same spot for a long period of time. While I can't say for sure that it's extraterrestrial, it's certainly unidentifiable and flying, so it is technically an unidentified flying object. This ghost at YouTuber Miss Pink Sweets 4201's workplace has her on edge. She captured video proof that some of her co-workers aren't exactly alive, and they may even be pure evil. Watch the left-hand corner of the top right-hand capture.
Oh my.
A ghostly figure appears, its face melting into view.
Oh my.
It disappears moments later. Is this a ghost? I think it could be some shift in the light, but it sure looks like a demon to me. Here's even more reason to not build your house too close to the ocean. Posted to Twitter by @CapeHatteras_NPS, an unoccupied house was captured on video collapsing into the sea off Rodenthade, North Carolina in early May of this year. The footage shows the two-story house on stilts, standing precariously near the aggressive waves as the wind whips through. Then its front stilts give way, collapsing the house head first into the sea. It lands flat and is pulled out to sea for a moment by the tide, but the waves quickly push it back in. After a while, it comes to a standstill on the shore, looking shoddy and dilapidated. Reports say that this is the second unoccupied house to collapse on this day at Cape Hatteras. This is not a good day for those homeowners. YouTuber Extinct File encounters the ghost of the Poco Aunties in this creepy video. As the team explores the abandoned place, they spot the ghost in a doorway.
Donde dormían. No mames. No inventes, güey. No mames. Cámara 2, güey. Hola.
A little further along, they capture an unexplained sound.
No puede ser, güey. La madre.
And then another. They believe the spirit here was pregnant.
En el estómago. Quizá estaba embarazada, güey. Estabas embarazada.
They then hear wailing in the distance. It continues for minutes. After a while, the crying stops, but then starts up again. And then this happens.
No mames, güey. No mames, cámara 2. ¿Qué pedo? ¿Qué? No mames.
When they enter the enclosure, the figure is gone. Where did she go? I'm convinced they truly encountered the ghost of the Pokuantes, and if they did, they'd better hope these spirits didn't attach themselves. This haunting just got a whole lot creepier. Posted by Raymond Powell to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor notes that this is an update on the disturbing happenings in his home. What are these happenings? The video shows some sort of pipe or tube on the counter start to roll one way and then the other. Next, a glass of water is seen disturbed slightly before being pushed clean off the edge. And lastly, a nearby recliner's footstool extends on its own. Many in the comments are completely creeped out by this clip. Miss Miley Moo wrote, "At the end, I turned the phone away for the last 10 seconds cause I didn't trust it. I definitely wouldn't trust this ghost either." Some folks are good narrators getting carried away by their own storytelling. This one should have noticed how true her story was. This video was originally posted to TikTok by Briar May. In the video, Briar is telling a creepy story while sitting on her bed, as she describes how her stepsister used to wait under her bed and grab her ankles. The camera pans back to capture her bedroom door slamming closed at the most inopportune moment, heightening the fear of the horror story. But don't be distracted by the sound. Look under the bed. Her room is not empty after all. Is that Briar's stepsister, or are her ankles about to be grabbed by the true blue monster under the bed? This is a horror story come to life. I just hope everybody was alright. While inside the screaming house, YouTube team Moxley's Paranormal World doesn't hear the screams, but they do feel the fear. It starts with a sensation.
See how you can see my shadow? I know you're here, I can feel you. This is one I've never been able to... There's something here. Oh, what was that?
Something was on me, there's a spider on me. No.
Then they hear something.
I'm hoping the camera's picking this up.
A cat ball is triggered in another room, and some of their other paranormal devices go off as well.
Who's just got the cat ball?
Pardon?
Cat ball's going off.
Oh. And again?
My K2's going off as well. Look.
Thank you for that.
The K2 starts lighting up as it sits in a chair.
K2.
Are you sat in that chair? Yeah. Is this your chair?
As they're distracted by the K2, a shadow figure sprints past behind them.
Did he want us out? Look at that, it's just a straight red. Mate, I just caught a shadow. I've seen a shadow behind me. Don't you just see the outline fly behind?
And they keep hearing a female voice.
I said another voice again.
Mate, it's strange, very strange in here.
I just said it was a female voice that. Do you know what, right? Do you know what I can picture in here? It sounds going off.
All evidence points to a female presence lying low in the screaming house. I just want to know the story behind this place. Late night CCTV footage has caught a possibly real ghost sighting at this YouTuber's place of work. Out of the shadows emerges a mysterious pale apparition that seems to briefly look into the room as it walks back into the shadows. It wears a white dress with an extra small waist that was popular during the 1800s. The uploader later found out this place used to be an old Victorian orphanage, so the look of the ghost does coincide with the history of the haunted building. Whether or not you believe him will determine how eerie this footage is. I believe him though. The justice system in Brazil is notoriously overcrowded. As such, CCTV ghost footage like this sighting is not that uncommon. The CCTV ghost goes into a small courtyard and climbs the wall to see over the heads of people who aren't even there. After a bit of scouting, it goes back inside. This simple routine was probably repeated hundreds of times throughout the course of this passed away individual's time behind bars, and so it seems reasonable that it would continue to do so in the afterlife as well. A spirit sadly locked away forever. Valerie Brown posted her dog Ruthie's ghost sighting to YouTube in 2013. She writes in the video description, "She barks incessantly as if someone is in there. Everyone said it's a ghost on Facebook. I'm not into paranormal, but people suggest I post this on YouTube. So here it is." As the video begins, the little dog is barking and growling, its tail wagging as it looks into the living room. No one is there, but the dog seems to be highly alert to some presence in the vicinity. The owner asks her dog who she's barking at, but of course, she just continues barking, appearing as though she thinks it's obvious who she's barking at. The owner moves into the living room, and the dog follows, running around to the front of the sofa. The dog's eyes are focused in on one spot, suggesting the invisible entity must be staying in place. In fact, when the dog moves to the front of the sofa, it seems to be barking at someone who's sitting on the sofa. Only there appears to be exactly 0 people lounging there. The dog runs back to the opposite side of the sofa, and as the owner ends the video by telling Ruthie again that there's no one there, the dog barks in disagreement, continuing to appear in high alert. What does Ruthie see? Is it an evil spirit, or is it friendly? My bet is on evil, as she certainly seems to be perturbed by its presence. This ghost hunter is wandering down the hallway of an abandoned building when he sees this.
مين انت؟ انت مين؟
Published by Hassan Barbar in June of 2021, something is sitting behind that door at the edge of the hallway, and I'm pretty sure it's a djinn. The door bursts open to reveal that it is indeed one of the cloaked creatures of myth.
انت مين؟
Although the djinn does not move, the door keeps slamming shut and bouncing open again. This goes on for a long while, and finally the djinn makes a move.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah. Bismillah.
He disappears behind the shut door. Hassan approaches, and when he slams the door open and enters the room, he finds the djinn has vanished. As he looks for him, it seems like he is pushed from behind.
Bismillah.
Then in another room, objects are being smashed.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وانا مش عارف شو الباقي قاعد بيصير صراحة. بسم الله.
Will Hassan find the djinn again before it's too late?
حاسس في إشي وراي يا اخوان.
James Nees is a YouTuber who has been uploading for over 3 years now. Sometime in those 3 years, a 30-year-old man named Michael Lee becomes absolutely obsessed and begins soliciting him across a variety of social media platforms. The messages soon grow dark and talk about taking James from his home. He even sent messages to his mother saying, "I'm going to take your son." and other more creepy statements. Perhaps his most worrisome confession is when he admits that he has taken a 9-hour drive to their house more than one time. One day, James' parents see a man hanging around their house and call the police. He runs away, but the police set up a quick investigation. Investigators use James's phone to message Michael and convince him to come back to the house. When he comes back, he is taken into custody on the spot. Michael Leib is eventually sentenced to probation with no time behind bars. Let me know if you think this is a fair and just verdict or not. This intriguing footage was captured on a dash cam at around 7 p.m. Watch closely. As the car turns around, keep your eye on the front of the white van up ahead. Do you see that dark figure move behind it? Now watch the second floor stairway window as the driver pulls forward. Something is clearly peeking out at him. The shadow figure disappears as the car reverses, and you don't see it again. The strangest part was that during this camera freeze in the beginning, the YouTuber says he caught a glimpse of the shadow speed toward the stairway. This is actually what led him to check his camera footage. Is the shadow figure in both spots the same lurking entity? I think it just might be, and this shadow seems to move at the speed of light. The Malaysian district of Sabak Bernam recently had an odd occurrence take over the entire village in November of 2020. That's when residents began to hear this sound. Phantom knocking at odd hours day and night. It's kind of hard to see through the glass, but let me put it to you this way. If I can tell there is a white car parked out front, then I definitely should be able to see the outline of whoever is pounding hard enough to rattle this door, and yet nothing's there. This video and others like it remain unexplained. If a whole village were faking this, then surely at least one person would have accidentally confessed by now. Months later, nobody has. Based on this paranormal evidence, I'd say something actually appears to be haunting this village. The Hinsdale house in New York is haunted, and these paranormal explorers are about to find out just how haunted it truly is. Early on, the spirits don't seem to want to be recorded.
It's funny here.
The REM pod upstairs starts going off.
Is that your REM upstairs?
Shh. Yeah, I turned it on. It's up in Laura's doorway.
Well, can you hear it?
It was beeping.
It was, yeah. It's going off again up there.
After hearing a woman talking in the kitchen, the REM pod is triggered again.
Are you here with us right now?
You wanna?
So I think she said ask me or that's.
The crew is then given a clear message via a spirit box.
I'm gonna take a couple pictures. That's not.
What did that say?
Run.
Run.
Hey.
When they don't leave, the spirits continue to interact. They even ask for help.
Can you light it up again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Is this what the dandies had to deal with on the regular? No wonder they fled this house. YouTubers Ivnu Fozzie encountered an unknown creature in the middle of the forest. Let's see if we can identify it. It's too dark to really tell what the creature is, and the creature itself is shadow-like. But you can see its movements toward them. I really have no idea what this thing might be, but their reaction to it makes me think it could be dangerous. This video could be someone talking gibberish in their sleep, or it could be a possession, as uploader JRon2 seems to think. Listen to this part and tell me if you think she could be speaking an ancient language.
She thinks Antarctica entrance.
Oh yeah? What does that mean?
One person in the comments section for this video thinks she might be saying something like, on the other side of the gods in Old Latin, whatever that means. If a second person could verify that this was what she said, then maybe we would know if she was possessed or just mumbling. Keep your eyes peeled. The shadow people are everywhere. Published by Ghost Tech Paranormal Investigations in April of 2020. The team investigates multiple shadow people sightings throughout this video. Here, various shadow figures are seen appearing in multiple pieces of footage from all over the world. A figure on an isolated road in the woods. Another in this room was captured on a security camera. One peeking around the corner downstairs. The creepy figure in the bedroom. This one crossing before a fireplace at the end of the hallway. This nightmare on an abandoned airplane. And this subtle shadow in the doorway. The figure appears before some lights. This one in the reflection of a refrigerator. Another at the end of a spooky hallway. Yet another near this coffin. And again in front of these spotlights. This one on the stairwell. Another beyond this set of doors. And the last on this paranormal investigation. This video certainly seems convincing, especially due to the multiple sightings. So let me know in the comments, do you believe in shadow people? Paranormal explorers Mackie and Amanda are investigating 2 haunted South California estates in this scary video, the Kellogg House and the Mag House. Published in March of 2022, they are in the Kellogg House when something touches Amanda's arm.
Oh, something just touched my arm. What? Something just touched my arm. Really? Super lightly, but I felt it just go like super light.
A moment later, she says it feels like the whole house is shaking. Later, they're sitting in one of the rooms when they hear someone knocking. Mackie also mentions that she heard someone's voice earlier.
Yeah, I did. I thought I heard someone, and it was like, it sounded like a lady talking out there. Like, that's probably a worker, but I remember Eli said that he's the only one here.
While in the dining room, they hear a beeping noise. It is not coming from one of their paranormal devices. Not long after, they hear footsteps, and then those footsteps sound like they're running right at them.
Anyone's up? No, really, what is that? Is someone upstairs?
Later, they're in a child's bedroom when one of their paranormal devices picks up an EVP, and then a second one. They speak to the spirits using a spirit box, who tell them that they're present.
So? Yes. Yes. What? Here. Mm-hmm. What room are you in? Here.
Then, when they leave the room, the music box is triggered again. Is something following them around these haunted estates? What does it want from them?
This is the master bedroom right here. This is where they wanted us to come, so...
It's still going off. Something's following us in here.
Oh, you're right.
It was you, it went off, and then it was me, it went off, and then there was...
This paranormal activity was caught on a camera that's displaying an incorrect time. A YouTuber named For Your Viewing Pleasure thinks they have caught a ghost on video sometime around 3 a.m., not 1:24 like the camera says. Regardless, some creepy moments have been caught on tape as their home CCTV system plays back a bizarre ghost-like in front of the camera. Another thing that's weird besides the ghost is how the background goes totally black for 6 seconds and then even stays black for 1 second after the ghost is no longer caught on tape. For your viewing pleasure says they hope this is a bug, even though they think it's probably paranormal. One person suggested that he has not caught a ghost sighting on video, but a moth instead. These creepy moments caught on camera from 2 to 4 seconds do look like possible wings in motion when slowed down, but I'm not sure what to think. Both sides have good arguments, so take one final look and tell me if this looks like a paranormal security video to you or not. Exploring abandoned places is supposed to be an adventure, but it can also lead to some unexpected encounters. YouTube channel Explore Abandoned Places with Tattoo Tony Alton published this video in October of 2016 writing, "We ran into 4 very strange people and were surprised while exploring. 2 that I got really bad vibes from. They seem like they may be wanted and running from the police. The school does look pretty creepy from the outside, and when you enter, the eeriness heightens. The place looks like a haunted house, graffiti lining the walls, broken windows, loads of decay and rubble on the ground." Early on in the video, Tony notes that this guy wouldn't stay out of his camera shots. About 20 minutes into the video, Tony comes across 4 men and quickly turns the camera away from them, so they don't grow angry or suspicious of his motives. While the entire encounter isn't shown, at the end of the video, Tony describes the men and explains what happened off camera. He says that 2 looked harmless, one was an old man, pockmarked and crazy, and the last guy was younger, shifty and acting strange. 2 of the dudes kept inviting Tony downstairs to see some cool stuff, but he got a bad vibe from them and was worried about getting his equipment taken. The weirdest thing was one offered to babysit his kids whenever Tony wants to go exploring. More than a little creepy. As so many of these videos show, darkness is a recipe for the scariest things imaginable. Posted by YouTuber Ricardo Costa in June of 2009, the uploader writes, "A strange shape is spotted at dawn at the Santos Dumont building. In the first pass, it is possible to see only a spectrum without a definite shape, but something that resembles some type of animal, but then it is possible to see a more concrete form of a creature. Never imagined, and still realized that one more accompanies it in a quick jump and soon after disappears without a trace or idea of what they were. In the clip, some men are sitting in the dark when beyond them, a figure is seen moving quickly past. What that figure is, you can't really tell, as its movements are too quick and there is little light. As the men all jump up to pursue the creature, you glimpse it again for a brief moment as it crawls past a sliver of light in the room. It looks like it's doing a bear crawl. They wander around in the darkness a bit longer, searching for the creature, but it seems to have disappeared, or perhaps it's in hiding. Some in the comments suggest it's a feral being, possibly even the rake. What do you think it is? Whether human or not, seeing and hearing something move like this in the darkness would certainly make me freak out." A YouTuber in Central Texas named Dylan Dickerson stopped feeling safe from home years ago when he first heard these strange sounds in the sky in December of 2018.
I hope you can hear that.
What's especially scary about this video is that at times, it sounds like a scary voice.
Now we're hearing them again.
At other times, it sounds like something else completely.
It just seems like they're always barking.
Almost like a battle of some sort just beyond our galaxy.
I still don't know what that is.
As this video taken 2.5 years later shows, the unexplained sounds in the sky have not gone away. If anything, they've become louder and more persistent, like it's evolving. I think these are real sky sounds caught on tape because the bird sounds up close and the sky noises are far away. Plus, 2 years is a long time to keep faking the same kind of video without much notice. So I believe in these scary sounds over Dylan's house. Do you? Some people think photographs capture the soul. Maybe this soul didn't want to be captured. Published by Dark Life in June of 2021. This poltergeist isn't playing around. While snapping photos in this haunted room, Russian paranormal investigator Dennis hears a rustling that he says sounds like it's coming from the basement. As he continues to take pictures, a massive wardrobe to his right is pushed over onto the ground. He leaves the room, and when he goes to re-enter it, he hears some strange sparking noises while standing in the doorway. The sounds stop. He looks around, asks who is there, but no one answers. Still, he appears to sense something watching him. Is Dennis alone here, or are the spirits all around him? You might want to avoid this forest because it's apparently home to brain-hungry zombies. Published by Addie Ant in October of 2021. A man appears completely lost in the thick foliage of a forest at night. As he's walking, a terrifying noise is heard. He continues, periodically calling out to whatever awaits him in the dense trees.
Hello? Nang? Oi! Nang, sorry!
That's when he sees this. Something lying in the dirt crawls out, obviously to feast upon his brains. The man turns around and races out of the forest in fear. At one point, he is knocked to the ground. He looks around, whimpering in the darkness, but doesn't see anything around him. Did the zombie give up, or is he on the verge of an ambush? This next video shows that even a zipline is in perfect condition. With flawless equipment is never truly safe. Sometimes things just go wrong. A giant gator pops up to try and snag this instructor out of the air. There is a decent amount of space between the two, but I'm sure it was plenty close enough if you asked her. And she definitely knows what waits for her should she ever make a future mistake and fall in. So I guess the final and most important lesson of ziplining over water is to always keep your legs up, because you never know what's lurking below the surface waiting to take a chomp. You expect to see kids throwing temper tantrums at McDonald's, not grown adults. But this video goes to show that some of us never do grow up. The woman in the video stands pouting with her arms crossed at the counter. She was angry about her order, having returned her hamburger twice and demanded her money back. When the employee refused, the woman went and got a water dispenser and poured it out on the counter. She then pushed the cookie container off the counter as well. Still not satisfied, she picked up one of the yellow, slippery when wet warning signs and flung it across the counter, presumably at an employee. She also pushed all 3 registers over the counter. According to the police report, the employee then warned her that she was calling the police, and this woman took that as her cue to go. but not before cussing the employee out like a sailor. While mental health or anger issues may be responsible for her actions, it's sad to see that staff members have to face events like this. If you're thinking of messing with Bloody Mary, think again. The Shadowhunters team learned this lesson the hard way. In this video, they investigate. After one of their devices is triggered in this haunted place, they mess with the spirits here.
Nossa, mano, olha lá.
They find the word Mary written on a mirror.
É o espelho, mano. Tentar filmar certinho aqui. Olha isso aqui, mano.
Then they do what you're told never to do.
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.
And she appears.
What is this? Ela.
And they face the consequences.
Nossa senhora! Nossa, mano! Tira ele daqui! Tira! Tira ele daqui! Vem, Thor, vem! Vem!
With his friend injured, one of the crew appears to go seek revenge against the demon.
Ô, Lucas, vai não, velho! Não vai não, mano!
But as he tries to, this happens. Do you believe in Bloody Mary? The Shadowhunters certainly do now. A man at work accidentally locks himself in a large attic. He's trying to open the door when he hears a strange noise and decides to start recording. He thinks out loud that it could be a rat or a pipe as he cautiously continues to film.
I'm getting kind of a spooky vibe up here. Right there. There it is again.
Soon he realizes that the strange thump is coming from the very top of some steps that he has never seen before. He climbs the steps and suddenly feels like he is no longer alone.
Hello?
Apparently he was right.
Whoa!
Something clatters to the ground and sends him running down the steps. I'm not sure how he managed to get out, but when he did, I'm sure he was glad he had plenty of video evidence to back up his claims. While this man was checking his home CCTV at night, he captured something he didn't expect. Published by Scary Desk in November of 2021, the scary video shows the man setting up his camera and checking that it's angled well in his yard. But as he's doing so, look behind him. A creepy face peeks out from behind a bush in the background. It remains in view even as a car passes by behind it. The face then slowly disappears back behind the bush. A closer look shows the creature's bizarre features. While it looked human from far away, it doesn't exactly look that way close up. Is this being wearing a mask? And why is it hiding? Whatever is going on here, it seems this man set up his security cameras just in time. There is a church in Brazil where many have reported hearing screams and seeing dark shadowy smoke. A priest is said to have passed away here. YouTube team Fatos e Mysterios heads to this haunted church to investigate. Inside, they find an altar.
Olha esse altar. Pouco, né? Será que tem algum túnel aqui embaixo, mano?
While near the altar, they hear this strange sound.
No meio do caminho teve medo. Que zoada foi? Que zoada é essa, gente?
And later they spot him.
É sério, cara, tem alguma coisa ali, gente. Entra. Na moral. É sério, cara.
Que isso aí, Alan?
He is kneeling at the altar with a candle lit. As the crew comes closer, something startles them.
Porra, é isso, cara? Oxe, tu é doido, mano? Tu viu isso aí, cara? Tu viu, mano?
What was that? I'm not sure, but it doesn't scare the crew away entirely, and they end up encountering the priest one last time.
Tá um esquisito do caramba, papo aqui. Como isso aqui é tenebroso, pô. Mano, aquilo ali, mano. Misericórdia! Ali!
What would you do if you saw this figure in a dilapidated, abandoned church?
Tenebroso, pô. Mano, aquilo ali, mano. Misericórdia! Ali! Tu viu, mano?
To me, the figure appears too solid to be an apparition, but that begs the question, what is it doing here in the darkness? Coupled with the creepy sounds, its presence is more than disturbing. A creepy video's freaking out fans of a celebrity in India named Riya Chakraborty. She's likened the hotel room she's been staying to living in a horror film. Creepiest of all is this sentence that reads, "This is my third room change." Electrical problems could explain problems from the first room, maybe the second, but 3 times is a bit much. Assuming the hotel staff checked the rooms for problems beforehand, which you think they would do, especially for a celebrity, then you have to wonder if the paranormal problem lies within her. It is possible that something within her is triggering paranormal activity while staying at a haunted hotel. I fear so. While planting trees, a YouTube channel called Homesteading Off the Grid accidentally records the eerie cries of something shrieking deep in the forest. If you know what kind of animal this is, let me know, because many people claim this sounds like some kind of mix between a human and an animal.
Did you
Sound
hear
like
that?
it's screaming at me, yeah.
Oh wow.
They don't hear anything for another 6 minutes and decide to stop recording. If this was a person, it sounds like they were in serious need of help. Nevertheless, that shriek is enough to give anyone chills. Epoch Paranormal is the YouTube channel of paranormal investigator Joseph Sturgill, a veteran of the YouTube paranormal community. He started uploading in late 2009. During his investigation of West Virginia Penitentiary, Sturgill managed to capture a terrifying piece of evidence. In the short video, Sturgill explains he had a constant feeling something was behind him, even though nothing was. It was during a joint investigation, but he says it wasn't any of the other investigators he felt. During the walkthrough and prior to the incident, Sturgill documents some disturbing graffiti on the wall in one of the cells. While the messages were clearly made long after the prison was shut down, and rather recent judging by the good condition, the words still send shivers up one's spine. Sweet lips lie wife, mine 3 feet under the kicker reads 1, accompanied by 3 stick figures. 2 are laying on the ground labeled Josh and Alex, while the third, positioned in the middle, is hanging from the ceiling, labeled Dave. Below these is written, "I'll be back," clearly referencing the hauntings occurring in the building. While it is likely the names written on there are the actual perpetrators of the graffiti, and is likely a simple sick joke, it does enhance the chilling atmosphere of the location. Another creepy message in a different cell reads, "Doing time is a blessing, unless you're sick as a dog and do some confessing," with a rather impressive skull drawing above it. It's enough to make you wonder what drives people to write such messages. Writings on the wall aside, the main feature of the video happens just after the 3-minute mark. Sturgill turns around to face the way he just came and spots what appears to be a tall figure standing in the doorway.
It looked like there was a person there.
He even comments about it, and it looks as if whatever was there moves to the left of the door frame out of sight. While it is hard to see, the apparition has distinguishable features, including visible arms and legs, while its head is obscured by the top of the frame. Sturgill briefly focuses back on the cell he is in front of before turning the camera back towards the end of the hall. When he pans back, the figure is gone, and the doorway looks unlike what it did before. Nothing looks obscured, and his light goes right through this time. Could this be what was following him the entire time? In any haunted location, it is difficult to determine the type of ghost one could be dealing with. Is it friendly, malevolent, neutral, scared? In a prison, the motivations of those left behind can be even more difficult. Imagine all the different personalities who resided there when it was open. Thieves, life takers, petty crooks, innocent as well as guilty. Thankfully for Sturgill, it appears on this occasion whatever was following him was nothing more than curious as to who is visiting the prison. Hopefully all future guests only experience the same entity and not something more vicious. Is this an authentic electronic voice phenomenon caught on camera? Published by Massage ASMR in April of 2013. This video was filmed at a temple in Egypt in October of 2012. The YouTuber's friends shared this footage with Massage ASMR. The short clip appears to have captured a strange childlike sigh while on a temple tour.
Probably guys over there, I know. Sorry.
According to the uploader, there were no children on the tour, which consisted of mostly Australians and South Africans. The voice sounds very out of place, which is why they thought it might be an EVP, perhaps even speaking ancient Egyptian. Is Cleopatra trying to speak to us? What is her message to the modern world? Or is something else haunting this temple? The answer remains unclear for now. YouTuber Hassan Barbar is used to encountering mysterious and paranormal anomalies. When he enters a room of this abandoned place, something is hiding beneath the covers.
شو تقولوا انه بني ادم ولا هي تقولوا انه بني ادم اخوان ولا ايش؟ طب اسمع، طب كيف اخذت الحرام من جوا؟ طب احكي معي انت احكي.
The figure is rocking and moaning, and Hassan gets closer to investigate. As he approaches, he senses something else behind him.
بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
And still he gets closer. After finding the figure has disappeared, Hassan continues to investigate the rest of the home, and something starts to bark at him.
طب اظهر قلب قرد هيو. طب انتوا كم واحد هون؟ كم؟
The thing continues to taunt him.
بسم الله. طب اظهر لي.
Then things grow even more active.
اسمع. طب شو اسمك انت يا قرد؟ شو اسمك؟ ايه؟ اسمك؟
But as to what is making that noise, it never becomes clear. While a lot of this video is mysterious, this cut makes me skeptical. Clearly, there was a cut in the video there, so I assume whatever form was beneath the blanket could escape. Still, I really enjoy the disturbing atmosphere of this investigation. Do you feel like someone's pursuing you? Then you should probably trust your gut. Published to YouTube by Upbeat Yamaha in February of 2019. This video follows a motorcyclist minding his own business on the open road. Wearing a GoPro, he manages to capture a white truck in front of him. Nothing out of the ordinary. Ahead, the truck pulls over to the side of the road. This too appears innocent enough, but after passing the white truck and later taking a turn onto a side street, seeing the truck continue along, you probably wouldn't expect what comes next. The biker returns to the main road, and the same white truck now a ways ahead pulls over again, letting him pass a second time. The biker starts to wonder what's going on. Even more worrisome, he thinks the truck is following him. He suspects the driver might be trying to record his license plate to report him for something. Although he says he hasn't done anything to report, he again pulls over at an intersection and attempts to wait out the suspect, who has stopped as well. The biker says the man in the truck is attempting to wave him on. After a brief face-off, the biker turns to the left, noting the guy's plate number and saying he was taking pictures of him. While the video doesn't come to any concrete conclusion about what the white truck wanted, the biker suspects that he's dealt with the same man before. Some in the comments think it's probably just some angry boomer who's mad about how loud the bike is. Others advise that if this happens again, to pull into a fire station, as they most certainly will help someone being followed. A cautionary tale if there ever was one. For all we know, this lurker could have had even more sinister motives. When in Kentucky, Bobby Mackey's is a must on your pit stop through Wilder, as the honky tonk place is often called the most haunted nightclub in America, and here's video to prove it. Posted by 303 Paranormal TV to the Chills Narrator subreddit. He writes, "A few clips of some paranormal evidence caught on my channel. The footage was taken at Bobby Mackey's, which according to legend, has been the site of both life-takings, takings of own lives, and of course hauntings. Folklore claims there's a gateway inside Bobby Mackey's, and it's haunted by the ghosts of people who passed away on site and nearby. One of the purported ghosts is that of Pearl Bryan, whose body was found around 2 miles away. According to some, those responsible put a curse on the site and said that they would haunt those who persecuted the case. Of course, all these claims are unsubstantiated. Pearl Bryan's life-taking is sadly true. No public records have been found to confirm Bobby Mackey's had any part in it, nor has the location's historical background regarding any other supernatural claims been verified. Regardless, some have captured paranormal experiences on tape at the site, including this video of a shadow figure moving across the wall in the empty club. Is there some truth in urban legends? Is this video proof of at least some unearthly presence here? I think I'd be too scared to ever find out for myself." A person named Khorn1234 is not sure what to make of this video and would like our help to investigate what could be paranormal lights in the woods at night. It starts off as one tiny red light at 2 minutes and 28 seconds, and soon the entire surrounding forest is lit up by them. Strange flashing lights suspended in midair. He looks the other way and across a field sees more of them. It's not houses and it's not towers, he says, and I agree. They seem to spontaneously appear and disappear without reason. It kind of looks like Christmas lights, except this was taken in the middle of July. So what are they? Avery is almost 2 years old. He's happily babbling away in the kitchen when his mother starts to feel a strange presence. This has happened a few times before, so she decides to start recording. Normally, her child is very quiet, but every once in a while, he will become very active and start having a conversation with someone who neither of his parents could see.
Who are you talking
to?
Avery's mother finds this behavior very perplexing, so she starts to ask him over and over who he is talking to. Finally, after the third or fourth time, she gets a sinister reply.
Who are you talking to?
Her child looks over his shoulder, almost as if someone is there. When he turns his back to her, a raspy voice says, "Ryan." Listen again with the sound up if you don't hear it. I guess this voice could be coming from Avery, but it sounds like it's coming from someplace much closer, almost right next to the camera. It almost sounds like a slightly different voice than Avery's. Maybe Ryan is a ghostly pal who is looking to make a new friend. This is the same house that made number 2 on my list about mysterious things caught on tape in Texas. In that video, I verified that somebody really did have their life taken while exploring the premises. Now, someone may have actual footage of their ghost.
Whoa!
You can see what appears to be a small hand beacon them from the window. I guess they could have had a third person climb to the second floor to make this video as a prank. Can someone who has been brave enough to go inside of the house tell me if it's possible to get up to the second floor? If you can't get access to the second floor, then this video is probably real. Either way, many people claim to have seen the ghosts of small children in doorways and windows of the abandoned property. So even if this video is fake, then the house is almost definitely still haunted. No one's getting any sleep in this room tonight. Published by Amma Media Channel in April of 2022. A woman is trying to catch some Z's in bed when a poltergeist takes over the room. First, it causes this baby swing to jerk around erratically, which wakes the woman up. She gets up and holds it still, which it is for a moment, but then it starts to swing like crazy again. The woman seems to think it's the wind. She checks the window. When the chair is still again, something flies from off the top of the wardrobe. A moment later, the closet door creaks open and then swings open further. The baby swing starts moving briefly. A moment later, something creepy appears in the mirror of the wardrobe door. What is it? But I'd guess that it's what's causing all the chaos. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Felicity goes in search of a spirit called the White Lady of Lancashire, who is said to be looking for her lost child. Felicity stands over her memorial, or rather her memorial stands over her, and she says the words which, according to legend, are meant to make the statue's eyes open.
I stolen your baby.
This push from behind is probably real because you can hear someone laying hands on her before she takes a step forward. Felicity feels dizzy and immediately regrets ever provoking the supernatural. The weather worsens and the wind picks up this wail, which sounds like a banshee more than an animal. Felicity heads down the trail with haste and finds out for herself that the legends are all real after all. A shadowy form glides across the trail and then disappears. It's too far away to see for certain whether this was a normal person or the lady herself, so we may never know for sure. Do you believe in the devil? YouTube team Wokaya Raz High Official claims to have captured the real devil on camera. Apparently, this is it. I'm not sure that this is the devil. It looks more like a beached merman to me. I think this crew should try and relocate it to some open water. Then again, that looks like a dangerous mission. What do you think this thing is? Devil or merman? I think it looks like the Condemned. Meteors keep flying over Japan, and they keep getting weirder each time. This relatively normal one, spotted in February of 2013, looks to be on a downward course until it burns up in the atmosphere at the last second. Then just 1 year later, another one manages to get even closer, this time piercing a cloud. What happens when a child opens his mom's Camaro car door in a Target parking lot and it accidentally dings a guy's car? Well, things escalated quickly, and that's what happens. At least if you run into this unfortunate lady.
That he hit the car, didn't you? You said he hit the car, didn't you?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. So get on the phone and tell him that you said that he hit the car.
Jay Rios published this video in September of 2016 writing, "Her son accidentally dings my car. No big deal. But after I inform her of what had happened and requested insurance info, she proceeds to deny what happened and resorts to verbally attacking my wife and I in front of her 2 kids and my boy." And that appears to be exactly what's happening in this video. The woman is seen storming all over the parking lot. As the man's wife is on the phone to the police, she's screaming in the background, "They're lying." Amidst her rant, she asks her son to show her where he hit the car, and after she wanders off, her son does admit the door landed right here, while pointing out the dent on the man's car door. Jay Rios also updated the video descriptor to answer some questions for the audience. He tells us that despite the drama-filled 6 minutes of this video, the scene ended very anticlimactically. The cops arrived and gave him information on how to file a claim if need be at the auto body shop, but they didn't care about the video, even though he had a witness who confirmed that the crazy woman had struck him. He says he can't blame them, because the woman was still going off when they were there, and even resorted to telling the police off. After taking his vehicle to the shop a couple days later, the shop verified that the dent could be fixed with paintless dent repair for less than $100, a cost so low that he wasn't going to file a claim, especially since the woman's son told her the truth, and she just didn't want to hear it. This quick clip, a group of kids are playing soccer when a strange and mysterious creature decides to crash their game. Watch closely as a black object approaches them from the right. The poor quality of this video makes it hard to tell exactly what this creature is. It's very small and the way it shuffles side to side does not look natural at all. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to make out a face or even any limbs. It could be a wild animal, but the way that the children and even the dog all run away in absolute horror has many people convinced that this creature could be paranormal or even extraterrestrial. Even when you slow down the video and zoom in on the creature, it's hard to tell what it could be. I personally have no idea what it is, and I definitely like to read your best guess in the comments below. A YouTube channel called The Paranormal Detectives investigates the Morton Corbet Castle in England. A man named Paul Holmyard cursed this property after his exile sometime during the late 1500s. And centuries later, his curse still apparently stains these walls. The paranormal detectives set up 2 haunted dolls of their own to act as spiritual conduits for anything nearby. Not only does one of their dolls, Elizabeth, fall over, but this strange black line begins leaking from its neck onto the wall behind. Fully stretched out at 1 minute and 53 seconds, it almost looks like some kind of tentacle or even a parasite. Is this special effects, or could we be witnessing a spiritual entity caught on camera while leaving Elizabeth? This witch means business. Paranormal Mai faces off with a lady in black in this haunting video. It all starts with a bang. And those bangs continue.
Amacım sizi korkutmak değil. Sadece bu tür şeylere inanmak istiyorum. Bir kere yüzünüzü göreyim.
The spirit grows even more aggressive, and at last they confront her.
Bir şey gördüm sanki. Bir yüz gibi bir şey gördüm. 100 bir kelime la iddamat mişeri mahalak. 100 bir kelime la iddamat mişeri mahalak. Hani bence buradan çıkalım artık.
While the suspense did put me on edge, the vanishing act at the end was a bit unbelievable. Otherwise, I would totally buy that this was real.
Dur. Dur. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilahe illallah. Kırız Rabbin nas, melikin nas, ilahin nas. İyi misin? Bu ne? İyi misin? Sakin ol. Orada dur. Bir yere gitme.
A father and son ghost hunting team are at an old graveyard somewhere in the south. They stumble upon a child's tombstone and get to work. The son attempts to communicate with the passed on child by planting an old pinwheel in the ground.
If there's a child out here that wants to play with this toy, feel free to make it move.
The father says that there is absolutely no wind on this night, so the pinwheel should not be able to move. To prove there is no wind, he records a tall blade of grass next to the tombstone and clearly shows that it's not moving. This child's gravestone is from the late 1800s. Pinwheels were probably very popular during this time, so it makes sense that the spirit would be excited and ready to play. A person checks their CCTV to catch whoever busted their side view mirror. It's on the sidewalk side, and therefore absolutely couldn't have been a car. The video does not end at all as expected, when a phantom force snatches the mirror and gives it a twist. Then again, maybe a manufacturer's bolt or something came loose here at 2 seconds. Point is, I've never seen a car mirror do something like this all by itself before. Have you? A scary video from Albany looks like creepy things are about to happen at night, but when Mike Leiss takes the camera to the window, you can see a big problem. It's the middle of the day, possibly the last for him and his family, as a terrible change looms in the sky. What happens next haunts them forever. At 9:16, a tree almost connects with the side of their house. The only thing that saved them were winds blowing slightly away from their home. When so much scary stuff happens to you at once, there really is only one reaction. I'm sure they were expecting to capture some scary moments on camera, but nothing like this. Almost losing your home, whether you actually did in the end or not, is one of the scariest things imaginable. A TikToker named Melody Zaragoza 1121 has an experience she will never forget on a flight, as she later describes simply as being not fun. All of the monitors go haywire and flash on and off in strange patterns, bathing the cabin in a green alien-like glow. At one point, they all turn on at once, almost as if there is some sort of deeper communication efforts at play. But without any further evidence, I would just as soon attribute this experience to faulty wiring, which, now that I think about it, is probably one of the few instances where a ghost could be arguably preferable. You're exploring a dark underground mine, water dripping, echoes, silence, and then you hear this. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Resurrect. The Redditor was on an adventure through the Disido mine in Arizona when he heard what he describes as footsteps on wood coming from deep within the tunnel. He says he and his crew were the only ones there at the time. Would you hightail it out of there or wait to see who or what was approaching? Well, most in the comments are already racing for the hills. Redditor JD250 offers a potential explanation. He writes, "When I was a kid, I lived up in Tennessee right on an old mine used by the town for storing stuff in the early 1800s, and I would hear sounds like these." Although JD says that he doesn't personally believe in ghosts, he admits to sensing the presence of pain and suffering in a place. On another note, the Redditor felt angry and hostile vibes in the place and insisted that it felt like something terrible had occurred in that mine, and he didn't want to know what it was. He also notes that his stepfather felt he couldn't breathe at one point, and not from overexertion. Do you think this could be explained naturally? Or is something haunting this mining tunnel? Wherever you stand, myself and most agree that this is one of the creepiest videos posted. You may think you're alone, but are you really? Posted to TikTok by Tayasha, this one is bound to give you the heebie-jeebies. On what looks to be a stormy night, the TikToker is walking around an abandoned building when she spots this in the window. The dark-haired figure appears ghoulish, staring out at the passerby. What do you think this mystery figure wants, and who is it waiting for? This has either gotta be the paranormal or a very elaborate hoax. There's simply no in-between. When things go haywire in your own home, it's easy to jump to a paranormal conclusion, especially when there appears to be poltergeist activity. Posted to YouTube in January of 2012, the uploader explains, "This is real footage taken at my house. As you can see the way the bottle moves, this is inhuman and impossible for a human to make a bottle move and gesture in these motions. This is totally real and scary. So if you are faint of heart, do not watch this, please. This is video of real paranormal activity." In the video, the men enter the kitchen, where a bottle on the floor appears to be rolling around of its own accord. After they enter the room, it stops for a moment before spinning around again. It twirls on its side and then stands straight up on its base. One brave man picks it up and puts it on the kitchen counter, which is where the clip ends. YouTuber MRLWAP2 in the comments suggests there's helium in the plastic bottle, but most people are more alarmed by the zebra pattern cupboards than the so-called ghost. Jenny Chanel writes that zebra print would make even a plastic bottle want to escape a room. So is this a supernatural case, or simply a case of terrible interior design? Only that soda bottle knows. A YouTuber named This Is Dan Bell has made a name for himself by exploring some of the creepiest abandoned places on Earth. This time he is seeing what he can find at an abandoned house outside of Baltimore City, the former home of the notorious Stephen Craig Johnson to be exact. In 1983, Stephen Craig Johnson brutally ended the life of his child in a fit of delusional rage. The case grew famous all up and down the entire East Coast, and it doesn't look like anyone has lived in the house ever since. As Dan Bell travels deeper inside, you can feel the sadness and despair clinging to every room. Amidst the discarded debris and wreckage, Dan Bell finds a weird handwritten letter in the closet with illustrations of a woman on the front and back. There's a brief paragraph talking about how evil the house is and what can be done to stop it. Some of the handwriting is kind of hard to read, so if anyone wants to type this letter out, I would appreciate it. Two things seem kind of sketchy about this letter to me though. First of all, the ink does not look faded enough to be something from the 80s, and the paper does not seem very aged either. I don't think it was penned by anyone in the Johnson family, so maybe someone else snuck inside and placed it here in recent years. Dan Bell is understandably nervous at this point, but he has come this far and there's still an entire second floor left to explore. He eventually finds himself in a stale attic covered with scattered documents and heaps of trash. He's just about to leave when he makes eye contact with something that has been watching him all along. A vulture, the devourer of fallen animals, silently regards him from the floor. Its gaze is calm and expectant, almost prideful in a way. If this really is a wild animal and not staged, then it is almost certainly a bad omen for sure. This video features an exorcism in action as the man wails demon-like in the background. A Russian Orthodox priest places a holy book under his head and reads the ritualistic prayers or blessing. While patting the possessed man on the chest, the man jerks and squawks, baring his teeth. As the priest continues his duty without flinching, he begins to shake his head back and forth, pale as a ghost, a blank expression on his face, and then he is still. The priest lifts his head into view of the camera as he continues to perform the exorcism, pressing something to the man's forehead. The man's eyes are rolled into the back of his head, leaving only the whites of his eyes in view, a very disturbing image. He then closes his eyes and later whispers something to the priest. The footage ends shortly thereafter, and it's unclear if the exorcism was successful or not, but if you didn't believe in demonic possession before, after watching this video, you might just find yourself a believer. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time. He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright, a hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. Florida resident Candace Spivey was shopping at Target when she was approached by a stranger. This man started a polite conversation with her, but something was wrong. The same man had done this same thing to her earlier at a grocery store.
Do you remember running into me in the grocery store? No, hey, where are you going? Come back. Hey, get this guy. Stop him. Stop this guy. Stop him. Stop that guy. Call the cops. Call the cops on him. Call the cops.
As soon as she confronts the man on it, he takes off and she follows him out of the store. Apparently, this was a registered offender who secretly recorded women. This just goes to show you never know who the real person is behind a polite stranger. Hopefully this man stopped his horrible actions after being publicly confronted like this. It's not unusual to try and make out figures in the clouds, but what happens when the figures are not just your imagination? This dark diamond-shaped figure floating over a body of water and below a curtain of clouds is not something your imagination conjured up. What do you see? Well, some in the comments of the video believe it's a star destroyer, a tear in the space-time continuum, or the monarch in the cocoon from Venture Brothers. Others take a more practical approach. It's called a water spout, Fisticuffs writes, and after reading up on the characteristics of a water spout, I must say I have to agree. Otherwise known as a non-supercell tornado, the funnel-like vortex occurring above a body of water in tropical or subtropical regions is often connected to clouds overhead. So as ominous as this figure may appear, it could be naturally occurring. Still, nevertheless, it will make you question everything. These visitors are boarding the Space Mountain ride when apparently something decides to go with them. Watch it approach from the left side of the screen and let me know if you see it or not. A transparent beam of light appears to move into the roller coaster and then suddenly vanishes. Some people have claimed that this is a famous ghost called Mr. One Way. According to legend, this ghost will sit next to you on a ride and have a conversation for a while before disappearing. This looks like it could just be a glitch in some grainy VHS tape to me, but some people claim that this is indisputable proof of Mr. One Way in action. Even if this video is a malfunction and not paranormal, I guess the legend could still be true. Full respect goes to YouTuber Rex Travolta for somehow obtaining this cry out loud creepy CCTV footage of a haunted driving school in Puchong. A man goes into the building late at night to wait for his girlfriend for a late night meetup. Little does he know tonight's date is about to get cancelled for paranormal reasons. The computer monitor somehow turns on at the same time, and when he checks the wiring underneath, the screens briefly flash in unison. He runs out of there scared out of his mind, and that's when a ghost decides its work is done as it shuts the door and pulls up a chair. The video looks paranormal at first, but I think it could be really good stop motion photography that you don't notice because the camera's been skipping frames the whole time. And as for the monitors, maybe the computers were already on and had some kind of screensaver on a timer to make it look like they went on at once. Steve Ronan knows firsthand how scary randonauting can be and says the Randonautica app is not to be taken lightly based on his experiences. He and Josh tell Randonautica that they want to manifest something dark and twisted in their exact words and let the app tell them where to explore. Through the woods is where they are told to go. A mysterious light in the woods leads them to a pentagram painted on a tree, a symbol that's as dark and twisted as it gets, and it's only the beginning. Randonautica takes them to an abandoned house, and the same unexplained light is right there with them. It remains the same size no matter how close they get. The light takes them to the backyard where it goes behind an object at 16 minutes and 50 seconds, so it's not coming from their equipment at all. Also, while they are exploring the area, this ghostly figure appears in the screen window. Tell me if you see it. It looks kind of like a face with two hands. While exploring the abandoned house, they see the face of another ghost in the hallway. At 21 minutes and 29 seconds, it's in front of the railing and looking down. That's when they hear the scariest sounds of all.
We were using an app called Randonautica.
Police calling for them to come out and explain themselves. History comes to life at this old stone church, and so do the spirits. Route X Paranormal Investigation calls this one of the best records of paranormal activity in a century-old stone church in the north-central part of the state of Rio de Janeiro. Soon enough, they come to the old stone church, but before they even arrive at the stone church, they spot something in the darkness. Their cameras don't capture what it is they're seeing. Soon enough, they come to the old stone church. Its creepy facade is enough to send you on your way. Inside, they find overgrowth, vines dangling, some seemingly suspended mid-air. Later, they stand before a small crucifix in a stone room. They speak to the spirits through a spirit box here.
Estamos aqui eu, Ed, tem a Márcia, o Wellington e o Marco.
One says that she's listening to them and that she is suffering, but the creepiest part is yet to come. As the cameraman stands far off, he captures a shadow figure shifting past the crew in the crucifix room. Is this the spirit they were speaking to? Or do they have multiple entities surrounding them? It's past midnight at a police station in Pahang, Malaysia. A quiet crew plays chess to help pass the time, completely unaware of something that stays 2 moves ahead.
Astagfirullah! Ya Allah! Selesai! Keluar! Ya Allah!
The faint outline of a figure leaves them fearfully singing for protection and clambering over each other to stay far away. A different police video taken 10 years later shows more scary things that are just beyond creepy. In the darkness looms a mysterious figure, not wearing a reflective vest like everyone else, that also does not reveal any detail whatsoever, even when directly under the high-powered beam of a police flashlight. Not to mention those crying noises coming from the woods. It could be speakers, but I really doubt the police would be wasting time faking paranormal videos, so either this is a joke being played on them, or else these scary ghost videos are actually real. I want to get the opinions of people from Malaysia, where this video was made, to help me decide if these creepy videos are real, or part of a viral trend, or what. Either way, you know the paranormal activity is bad, when even the police are too afraid to do something about it. Not that there's much they can do. Would you rather see a ghost reflected or see one solidly in front of you? Posted on TikTok by RickyLie27. Ricky is wandering through what looks like a massage parlor when something unexpected appears over his shoulder. The TikToker is talking to the camera as he guides viewers through and doesn't even seem to notice this creepy figure that appears in the window behind him. A woman with long dark hair dressed in white lurks there. It's not clear if the woman is standing outside beyond the window or if this is a reflection of the woman standing inside. I kind of hope it's the former, because if not, she could be right over your shoulder. While investigating an old schoolhouse, this group's trail camera caught this unexplained happening. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Key Consequence 7618 explains what we're looking at here. We had come from the first classroom walking towards the second classroom. This is a light in the doorway on the left just as the board jumps up. The board that he's talking about is a piece of plywood set in a doorway. It shudders long after they've entered the room, so it can't be a reverberation of the crew having walked on it. Further, as the Redditor said, a strange light appears in the window of the door, as if someone that was standing there left at that very moment. Although the Redditor says he and another member of his crew were the only two people in the house, it looks like they weren't alone. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration aircraft took advantage of flying through Hurricane Irma to show us by taking this horrifying video of the storm outside. As the aircraft flew through the Atlantic Ocean's most powerful hurricane ever recorded, it gained vital information of the storm's path using drop sensors, as well as measuring the storm's intensities via radar readings. Irma made landfall in the Caribbean. Hurricane winds and rains whipped the airplane as it stood in the midst of Irma's power, but slowly the clouds lightened and the blue sky could be seen while the rain ceased. The contrast shows the magnitude and absolute power of a hurricane at full throttle. When you visit an abandoned hospital, you don't expect this to happen. Redditor Bored Guy Online posted this scary video evidence that he captured in the ICU. Keep an eye at the end of the hall to the right. Something mysterious is going on here. Being that all hospitals are likely haunted, maybe these doors aren't malfunctioning after all. If that's the case though, who is opening and closing this ICU door? He can see us, but we can't see him. I think it's time to leave this abandoned hospital and stay far away. You wouldn't want anything following you home now. The best place to see ghosts, cemeteries of course, as these paranormal investigators confirm. They posted this haunted cemetery video in October of 2019 writing, 2 different husband and wife paranormal investigators accompany GOCM 1 week apart to investigate a known haunted cemetery. The 45-minute video includes creepy screaming heard in the darkness as the investigators examine tombstones, as well as random voices heard using an EVP, a child laughing. Some of the ghosts even ask for help to leave.
What the?
A reminder to bring your EVP along the next time you enter the cemetery. That is, if you want to communicate with the afterlife that lies beneath those hollowed grounds. Multiple cameras capture a UFO hovering over Jerusalem in 2011. The small moving ball of light glides over the building tops for a while, and then does a dazzling aerial maneuver that no human aircraft could ever possibly replicate. I would think this is CGI, but the same event was reportedly witnessed by numerous people who don't know each other. In this second video, you can see the ball of light is over the same domed building as the before, and abruptly flies straight up. I will admit that the UFO in the first video looks a little different than the UFO in the second video, but I think the first video was recorded with a digital camera, and the second was recorded with a cell phone from almost a decade ago, so that would explain the visual discrepancies. This giant flat creature is actually a beached oarfish, laying on its side. A confirmed bystander pushes it back into the water with her paddle, which could be a mistake because it proceeds to head directly for the person holding the camera.
Oh my god.
Although it seems more concerned with getting away than taking a bite, this is still not an animal that I would want to have anywhere near me, especially in such shallow waters. It almost seems to make eye contact as it passes directly under her feet before straightening out and swimming away. As these dudes were wandering in the darkness, they encountered something they never expected.
Okay. We're on. You gotta go!
Climbing on the gate, it looks like a tiny extraterrestrial humanoid, and apparently it gives chase.
Dude, he's booking it! Go! Dude, go! Dude, go! Oh my gosh! Dude! He's right there! Dude, get your flashlight. My light's not working.
The humanoid creature is catching up to them.
Dude. Stupid, why would you stay? We gotta go, we gotta go!
What is that? I'm not entirely sure, but let's hope it didn't get them. Did you ever think maybe your child or younger sibling is possessed? This video was posted to Reddit with the title, "No idea if this was the monitor or the kid is possessed." The video shows the demon baby standing at his crib, his eyes glowing red, a common occurrence in baby monitors, but it's the way he starts moving around that has the Redditor wondering if it's possession. The baby starts swaying back and forth rapidly before he holds very still and then turns his head all the way around unexpectedly. He then rests his head on the crib edge before sinking back down, hanging there, simply staring at the monitor. Other Redditors attempted to explain the possession. Jackal449 suggests footage lag from motion. Otherwise, most arrive at a general consensus that this is normal baby behavior. What do you think, normal or not? Whether normal or abnormal, seeing this in your baby monitor would be sure to creep you out, maybe even enough to make you scream. An all-white mysterious mist approaches this home and briefly flies away, only to come back in the opposite direction and fly off camera once more. I was thinking that this could be some kind of bug crawling across the lens until I took a second look, this time observing its behavior. Upon returning, the phantom mist reaches out and actually taps on the door with some kind of ghostly appendages. The timing and placement of its knocking gesture makes me think that this is probably a poltergeist playing tricks on the people inside. A YouTuber named Matthew Van Hughes is enjoying nature when he hears a loud voice of someone who apparently isn't. Listen to this part and tell me if you can literally hear the word help being said, because I think I can. The sound quiets down and then switches over to something far less human. Skeptics think that this is some kind of wild animal, but I think I can hear English being spoken here, but I can't tell what. Maybe the words "don't take me." Let me know what you hear. When he gets to the bottom off the cliff, nothing is there. Matthew waits for an hour and doesn't hear anything else, so he leaves whatever it was to take their final breaths. You might think you've got nerves of steel. This video was posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by Peconic. In the video, the likely US-based officer pulls over a driver at night, approaches the driver's side door with a flashlight to question him, but then never gets the chance. The dashcam footage shows what happens inside. A bright light bursts from the sky, causing the patrolman to stagger a little bit before he vanishes, leaving his steaming clothes behind in a pile beside the vehicle. The car then speeds off, either out of fear for what just happened or to flee the scene. Having been an active participant in the officer's vaporization, we're left to wonder which it is. The clip first appeared on the YouTube channel from Tim Beckers, who said, "I downloaded the video and shared it with a couple of my friends in the community, and they all told me the same. This footage looks real and it could change everything we know. What do you think? Could this be real or a clever fake?" A phantom drifts past, never to be seen or heard from again. Published by Tammy Jackson in December of 2019. This Ring camera footage captured something incredibly eerie in this person's yard. The footage shows a pale, full-bodied figure drifting across the yard. No features are discernible. It then appears to vanish. That's when the motion-activated lights on the garage are triggered. They shine brightly, casting light all across the yard, but there's nothing there. A house light also appears to be triggered, but still nothing else appears in the yard. Do ghosts trigger motion sensors? If not a ghost, who is this? I guess we'll never know for sure. A YouTuber named Mr. Technical Difficult and his friends are hanging out by a river when they see an old abandoned cooler on the other side. They don't pay much attention to it at first, but after a while they grow curious as to what could possibly be inside. Finally, they can't take the suspense anymore and decide to retrieve the floating container. What they find inside is troubling.
Open the hatch!
They remove an excessive amount of masking tape and pop the lid only to see a black-eyed doll peering back at them. The creepy doll is dressed in red suspenders and its head is turned directly towards the camera. No one knows what to make of this unsettling discovery, and they all stand around for a bit laughing nervously. To this day, the group has absolutely no explanation as to how or why this doll was sealed and sent down the river, or more importantly, who is responsible for this strange message. After spending a day at the pool with some friends, a YouTuber named Austin Grash decides to explore his girlfriend's creepy basement for fun. They soon discover her basement area has many secret areas that have gone untouched for quite some time.
No, and look to the right and there's a whole door over there.
Listen, that's not concrete. That's hollow.
A series of hidden passageways leads them deeper and deeper underground until they come across a final creepy red door. At this point, they can't shake the feeling that someone has definitely been down here before. Perhaps even very recently, just when they are talking about what could have possibly taken place down here, they see a bad sign.
I want to know why there's chains right there.
Where? I want to know why there's chains everywhere.
If these chains weren't used to shackle somebody in place, then please tell me what they could have been for instead, because honestly, that's the only explanation I have. Eventually, one of them bravely kicks open the mysterious red door to reveal an empty room. There is a cellar door that none of them can pry open, so they give up and head back to the surface. Exactly what is in there is anyone's guess. For all we know, maybe somebody below ground was holding on to the other side. If you saw this on your home security camera, what would you think? According to Johnny Smither333, who posted the video to the Ghosts subreddit, the strange capture came from his living room's motion detection camera. Whatever this flash is had enough presence to set off the camera, but it's unclear what that blur might be. While many in the comments say it's a bug, others like SPM Wiggy offers more creative suggestions. She writes, "It's a tiny witch on a matchstick. Clearly you can see the hat and the giant witch nose." Another Redditor suggests that it could be gremlins. The Redditor says that in slow motion, it looks like it appeared out of thin air. He also notes that as soon as it gets closer to the camera, it doesn't look like any bug he's seen. Have you seen a bug that looks like this? I know that's likely the culprit in cases of videos like this, but I definitely agree, I've never seen a bug that looks like this before. Therefore, there's at least a reasonable chance this is truly paranormal. This wild ride is about to go off the rails. Posted by YouTube channel Bug Boho and originally published by Life of Luxury, this scary video is trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The Life of Luxury team received an email that prompted them to investigate a strange matter.
You told us in the email you sent us that you think someone's been watching you through your window. And you said they even tried to get in once.
Unlike with many of their write-ins, this one looks like she's already gone crazy.
What do you mean? You seem really freaked out in that email.
And she's caring for a baby.
She's beautiful. Emma, can you sit down again?
Later that night when they enter her room, the woman is behaving very strangely.
She's on her phone or something.
Hi,
But it isn't long before they find out that nothing is as it seems.
Hello? Who's there? Oh my god.
Crazy lady wasn't Emma after all. As Chester is locked downstairs, Parker comes into his room.
What are you talking about? Emma's crazy! She locked us down here!
They barely escape, and the audience is left to wonder what happened next to that innocent baby.
What are you doing there?
It seems like we may never know. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.